Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.CFRN.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.CFRN.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. And from our studios in Las Vegas, Nevada, Mr. David Williams. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, 3rd day of July, 2013. Quick look at the numbers. The Dow up 72 points, the S&P up 3, the comp up 15. Crude is up $1.80, and I don't have a reading on gold in front of me. Michael, you got a read on gold?
I don't have a read on gold.
He does not have a read on gold.
I do not have a read on gold.
All right, here we go. Up $9.30. Yay, gold. All right. Guys, we've got just about an hour before the markets close. We had a trade that triggered as we were leaving, just as we were leaving the live trading room this morning. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Those of you who follow us on the Twitter or the Facebook, you're aware of the trade, you're in the trade, and I just sent out a follow-up to consider taking some or all profits as we move into the weekly trading zone at 1614/15. You've got money on the table. You may just want to, trail a very tight stop on that thing, all right, and then go into the holiday with a little jingle in your pocket. How about that? For those of you that are joining us for the first time, welcome. Glad to have you with us. Here's how it works most days when we don't have a hiccup like we did yesterday with our software. We open up. I make witty remarks. I then take you to the good word for the day. I then show you a little bit on a chart, read you a couple of headlines. Michael takes over. He recaps everything that happened in the live trading room, every trade we took, and even the ones that we weren't able to take because we were busy taking another trade. He just kind of walks you through everything that happened in the various markets we trade during the live trading room. When that's over, we then go out to Las Vegas, Nevada, that jewel in the desert. Talk to our friend David Williams from PageTrader.com and Miss Robin Dane, the trading coach, although she is on a sabbatical for this week and next week. She'll be back, I believe it's on the 15th of July. We'll be closed tomorrow in observance of Independence Day, 4th of July. The markets are going to close, as I said, here at the top of the hour, 1 o'clock Chicago time. They will remain closed tonight on Globex. They will reopen tomorrow afternoon, 5 p.m. Chicago time, for the Friday session. And that's how that works every day. We always open like today's session, the Wednesday session began yesterday afternoon at 5 p.m. Chicago time when the markets reopened. I will tweet the Globex Open tomorrow night between flipping garden burgers and whatever else I might be doing. That's if I have access to the charts and the platform. As far as I know, I will by that time of day. But if I'm not here, no, I'll be thinking about you. All right? But I do plan to be here. So, with that said, let's go to our good word for the day. Deuteronomy 31:6 talks about the traits of a good leader. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Powerful, powerful scripture. Well, believe it or not, a good leader doesn't think that he or she has all the answers. In fact, a new study from the University of Buffalo has shown that compared to egotistical bosses, humble bosses, number one, lead by example, number two, admit their mistakes, and three, recognize their followers' strengths. And that's a pretty good start, I guess. Now, obviously, leaders make things happen. They bring about change. And real leaders communicate clearly what they stand for and what their goals are. They have clear direction. Leaders have an ability to motivate others to do what they want them to do. Sometimes this is for good. Sometimes it is for evil. Real leaders delegate. They trust in others to get the job done. Micromanagers, on the other hand, constantly destroy the morale of those they are called to lead. All these are key traits of leadership. But what separates leaders from great leaders? Well, I believe it's one thing, and it's referenced in this scripture: courage. The first line says, be strong and courageous. What kind of courage? The courage to do what is right. The courage to do what needs to be done, especially when the heat is on and people are grumbling and times are hard. Great leaders have the courage to lead others to carry out their vision no matter what the cost. Now, this courage can be found in God. His word says, be strong and courageous. Strength and courage, key factors to great leadership. And that's our good word for the day. And men, I'm going to speak to you specifically here just for a moment. You're called to be the leader of your home. I'm not getting sexist, and Lord forgive me if I'm not politically correct. But ladies, you know that I'm right. The man is called to be the leader of the home. Now, I'm not talking about being unequally yoked. I'm not talking about some kind of slave type of dynamic in the home where the man rules with an iron fist. No. I'm talking about being equally yoked, and I'm talking about the man having the greater responsibility. In other words, it's his job to care for his family, to provide for his family. The wife, the mother, she has roles as well. And again, this has nothing to do with being sexist. And roles have changed a lot since the Industrial Revolution came along. Most people don't know this, but prior to the Industrial Revolution, men stayed at home. Men and women shared equal roles, absolutely equal, in raising the children, because the father did not leave the home to go and earn a living. The father earned his living from home. Interesting how we've come full circle, because many of us, especially those of you listening to this radio program today, earn your living without ever leaving your home. Some of you do go to an office just because you like to get up and get out. But if you needed to, you could just stay home. And maybe you did do that for a while and you decided for, just to break up the monotony, you went and got an office so you have a place to go every day. A little water cooler to stand around and chit-chat with somebody else. And that's okay. But do a study sometime on the Industrial Revolution. In fact, there is a video, I can't think of the fellow's name, but the title of his talk is called Free Market Jesus. You can Google that up. Those of you who have access to our video library, you can just go watch that. Free Market Jesus. It talks about how the dynamic of the home changed. For better, for worse, you decide. But I'm just speaking to you men. Be strong, be courageous, and realize that you're called, again, not to be some cruel ruler, but to be a leader, to be strong, to be courageous, to be someone that your wife and your children can look to, respect, and most of all, depend on when times get tough. So, with that said, let's go to our chart. This is the S&P 500 E-mini futures. It's the hourly chart. If you cannot see my chart, perhaps you're new, perhaps you don't know how to fully log in, go to the home page at CFRN.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the great big microphone. That'll take you to another page. Click the link that says Watch Live Now. That's going to give you a registration page. You only have to register once per month. Now, this month is pretty young. 5 minutes from now, it'll be the end of the month, and we'll be registering for August. But for now, it's still July. Time flies, in case you hadn't figured that out. Michael, are you catching on to that? The older you get?
Yeah, I am, unfortunately.
Man, it's just amazing. With each passing day, the clock keeps speeding up. My mother told me as a child, she says, son, the older you get, the faster time goes by. And I'm like, Mom, that doesn't make any sense. It's 24 hours in a day. It doesn't matter if you're 6 or 60. She said, all right, well, you just wait and see. Oh, Mom, you're so
Once
wise.
Again,
yep.
She was right.
She nailed it. So anyway, in 5 minutes it'll be August and we'll have to register again. But for now, you just register once and you're good for the entire month of July. Okay? In other words, you're going to get an email every day that says, show starts at noon, click here to join. So one-click access. All right, to the chart. Up here, I'm going to just scroll left for a moment. Take us back to the Sunday night Globex Open. Our first tweet of the week went out. Consider being long above 1604. Price ran to 1609. And we tweeted out to consider taking profits there. We then came back to test 1604, and we sent out a tweet that said, hey, you know how we feel about testing those important areas. This could be a great opportunity for another trade. And sure enough, it ran right back to 1609. So we had a 5-point trade up, 5 points back down, 5 points back up. That happened in the span of 4 hours. On the way back down, price got held up right here. The swing low is 1605 and a quarter. Price could not break below that. Last week, 1605 was a very important number for us. We had a lot of trades off the 1605 area that carried over into this week. We made a run for 1614. And if you care to go out to the Facebook page, I'll put the link into the chat room here in a few moments when I'm done. But you can go all the way back to Sunday night when we put out that initial tweet, and then into Monday, consider locking in summer all. It's right there for you to see, and I try to I've taken to chronicling things on the Facebook page. Number one, because I'm not limited to 140 characters. And once I hit post here on Facebook, it rolls it out to Twitter for me automatically, and then it creates a little link right here. So if you're watching the Twitter feed, and if your app goes off, or if you get a text message on your phone that CFRN just sent out a tweet, you can hit that little link even on your smartphone. It'll open a browser, a web browser, and you'll be able to capture the entire thought or instructions or idea, whatever it might be. So I won't go through every hook and crook of this because I know we need to get rolling, but all the information is there for you. Go take a look at your leisure, maybe over the holiday. We are in the midst, by the way, of an open house, a 2-day open house. If you didn't get your invitation via email last night, it's not for lack of trying on my part. I tried to catch everybody. And again, I forgot to put the password in the email. However, when you go to the registration page, up at the very top, it says the password is independence. It's easy to miss that, though, because you're just in a hurry to type in your name and stuff so you can, get going and get into the room. And so I fielded a lot of emails this morning. What's the password, dude? It's not required. Required is not the password. It says right here, password is required. Well, it's not. Get it? Required. It's not. Yeah, that's not the password. Okay.
Get it.
Get it? All right. So if you come back on Friday, number one, I answered and apologized. Let me apologize again publicly for not physically putting it in the email. I should have done that. Use the same link on Friday to come to the live trading room, spend 2 hours with us, and on Friday, again, the password will be independence. Okay, back to the chart and moving to the right. Just more great action off of the 05 area. And I've been trying to get the tweets out to you, good areas to take profits. We caught 1614 beautifully, okay, right at the zone. Get out, wherever you are. And sometimes I even send out a second one that says, seriously, consider it. Because here's the deal. If you get long over here at 1607, this tweet said be long 1607. Then I sent out a tweet to get flat. If you did not heed that warning to get flat, then it came back, potentially stopped you out, and then went right back to 14. So the idea is that you're able to capture the 7 points of profit that you have here. We hit a known area of resistance, the weekly trading zone. Price then comes right back to test this important area, 05, where we then get another long trade to take us right back to that same area of resistance at 14. So, are you coding?
Oops. No, I'm sorry.
I'm
My
teasing.
mic was off.
I'm just kidding.
All right. Sorry about that.
Guys, if you haven't seen that movie, The Social Network, you gotta just go to the red box, spend $1, get the thing, watch the movie. Tell me what happened at the end, by the way, because I didn't see it all the way through. But tell me if it doesn't just, I don't know, the guy that's coding at the beginning of the movie, the way he hammers that keyboard. I type fast. Mike types fast. But this guy, he's got to be doing a couple 300 words a minute. I don't know. Or maybe it's just gibberish. Maybe it's just for dramatic effect, dramatic license for the movie. I don't know. But, and I type really, really fast, but I still have to look at the keyboard. Do you look at the keyboard, Mike?
Oh, yeah, I do.
My wife comes in. My wife walks in and she just laughs at me. She goes,
Yeah, that's
she
not
goes,
fast.
you're typing like a zillion words a minute and looking at the keyboard. She goes, do you realize how fast you'd be if you stopped looking at the keyboard? I go, well, I don't know. Old habits are hard to break.
Then I'd make all these mistakes because I don't know where the keys are. That's me anyway.
Okay, can I send you a chat real quick?
Yeah, sure. Send it.
Okay, because Dan says he can't see the charts. So here comes the chat to you, and you can help Dan find the charts. Well, see, when I took typing in high school, I'm just going to be honest with you, purple microdot was very popular in the day. And so my typing skills are not what they should be. Okay, thank God I've turned from that hedonistic lifestyle. It was the 70s, almost the 60s. There was some carryover there. But anyway, so I'm now to a lifetime of looking at the keyboard because I didn't pay proper attention in typing class. But moving on, price comes over, and on July 3rd, that would be today, price did this. Okay, we had a tweet last night. And let me show you exactly what that looked like. Okay, now, all right, guys, we're closing in on this 1614 that I mentioned at the top of the show that I just tweeted out. Consider taking profits on the approach, okay? Because here's the thing. 14 is the zone, But sellers may come in early, and look at what's happened. I put this on the Facebook last night. I said Monday when we put this high in that this might be the high of the week. The reason being is because we have a weekly zone overhead at 1624/25, and when price made the commitment and left 1415 behind but was unable to reach 2425, that sends us a very important signal that there's some weakness in the market or selling strength, however you want to label it and look at it. I said this, guys, I know it's Monday, it's a little early to say this, but that might be the high of the week. We come back on Tuesday, and look what happens. Same thing. We break above the 1415, but we can't take out the high of Monday, and we certainly don't get up to that zone. And now today, with only an hour left in the market, if we get to 1415, I'll be happy, okay? Because that'll mean you've had 7 points of opportunity from the trigger. Now, we had a trigger last night at 1607. Initially, it went 2 points. There were 2 more swings. Each were good for 1.5 points. That was it. Not as stellar as what we're accustomed to of late on the tweets. The markets have been very kind. So I sent out a tweet, and I said, now it looks like we're getting ready to trigger on the short side as well. We did. And now yesterday, those of you who stuck around for the after show, and that's every day on the radio show when we finish chatting with David from Page Trader, I hang out and answer questions. We actually put this trade on the screen. In fact, I tweeted it out live during the after show. We put the 1607 trigger up. We put the 1598 trigger up. And then we highlighted what would be obstacles to the trade. We knew that 0975 would be an obstacle. We put it on the chart. 18 would be an obstacle, and 20 if we were to get up that high. Okay? So far that hasn't happened. We have managed to get above 0975. I don't think we're going to see 18 because once we hit 1415, if you take a look at this right here, this is probably going to be it. Okay? Now tomorrow afternoon, markets will reopen, 5 o'clock Chicago time, and then we have a full day of trading on Friday, but it's going to be holiday trade. There may be light participation. Doesn't mean price won't move. Often, when there's light participation, a serious buyer or seller, an institution or a fund, they can move the market a significant distance on light volume because there's no resistance. So some interesting dynamics often happen on quote-unquote holidays. Now remember, the markets are open Friday, but a lot of folks will be taking the day off. So here we are on the approach again. If you got triggered in at 1607, you want to consider taking some or all of your profits here and or tighten up that stop and trail it very closely. You don't want to give this back. Now, last night when we triggered at 1598 on the downside, I sent out a tweet and I said, guys, remember the obstacle at 1594. Consider taking some or all profits here at 1594. And the market was kind in that it hung around that 1594 area for a little while, and it actually gave anyone that was watching the opportunity to do that, to take the profits. We triggered on the short side. The market has made 4 points available so far on the last tweet. As we pointed out on the last chart published, there is an obstacle at 1594. Trade accordingly. And this is what it looked like last night as price was hammering this obstacle at 1594. Now, if you're just looking at a chart, there's no way to know that there's an obstacle there or why. But if you were on the after show yesterday, we showed you exactly why. So the fact that price turned at 1594 and made this incredible move to the upside, it's no surprise. It's not voodoo. It's not black magic. It's simply the ability to read a chart. And if you become a CFRN partner, that is exactly what we endeavor to teach you, is how to read a chart, because in order to learn how to trade, you must first know how to read a chart. That's the proper sequence of events. You learn how to read a chart, you then learn how to trade. That's why we offer you a 5-day free trial in our live trading room so you can come and watch us trade real money in real time in front of real people. You can download the platform. You can use our proprietary indicators. You can put on and take off trades right along with us so that at the end of 5 days, you can make a well-informed decision whether or not our method of trading is right for you. It's not right for everybody. Some say, well, you know, it's too fast for me. The time frame's too short. Well, the good news is all you have to do is change the time frame. We use a range chart, and in the live trading room, it's a 4-tick range, not to be confused with a 4-tick chart. It's a range chart, but you can simply double that number to 8. Now, we only risk 8 ticks on every trade in the live trading room. If you want to increase your time frame and go from a 4-tick range chart to an 8-tick range chart, guess what? You got to double the risk too. Why? Because the markets are fractal in nature. So remember, 4-tick range chart, we never risk more than 8 ticks on any trade. And I want you to think about this. One of the reasons the S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, and the NASDAQ are so popular among traders, number one is the liquidity, and number two is the leverage. For $500 in the S&P 500, you're controlling over $80,000 of equity. And since we only risk 8 ticks on any one trade per contract, in essence, you're controlling $80,000 of equity. You need 500 to control the 80,000 in equity, but you're only risking $100. Think about any other investment arena in the world, from real estate to franchises to anything. Even, you know, trading baseball cards at the swap meet. It costs you more than that just to get a little inventory and a card table so you can go sit in the heat, right? The low barrier to entry as an E-mini futures trader is also one of the reasons, unfortunately, that so many traders fail. Because they figure that since it's so inexpensive to become a trader, it must not be very hard. And so they just come in and start clicking the mouse. Well, nothing could be farther from the truth. Now, we know that to become a doctor or an attorney or a pilot, that's kind of a long, you know, drawn out endeavor. Costs some big bucks tuition-wise. There's time, there's money, but man, you can deposit $5,000 in a brokerage firm and boom, you're a trader. Or are you? No, you're not. You're simply somebody with money in a brokerage account. Having money in a brokerage account somewhere does not make you a trader. It makes you a person who's in the position to learn how to be a trader. And again, that's what becoming a partner is all about. Are you willing to commit the time required to learn? Some are, and some aren't. I've had many people tell me, I don't have time to learn. I need to just get busy making money. And I wish them well, caution them, and often we end up having that same conversation 6 months later. Even a year later, suddenly now they find the time because they realize that without taking the time to learn, putting in that sweat equity, rolling up your sleeves, studying the charts, you know, getting a real up-close understanding of what each candle on that chart is telling you. And each candle does tell a story. Sometimes the charts can get a little noisy because there's a whole lot of stories out there, but each one's talking to you. You have to be able to read it, to filter it, to understand it, and then to translate it into action. That's exactly what we did here. We said we'll trigger in at 98 on the short side, but we know that buyers may come in at 1594 and run this thing back up. How do we know that? Because history has a tendency of repeating itself. And look what's happening here. As we approach this weekly trading zone at 1614, the market was doing pretty good. It was cruising. On the approach, sellers came in, they're knocking it down. Swing high was 1613. Now, I'm not saying we're done. that we're finished, that we won't make 14. I'm just saying I hope you already took your profits. That's all. Even if you take them now, from 07 to 11, that's 4 points. That's 2 days' wages for us because we're only looking for a couple points a day. How big is a 2-point paycheck, you ask? As big as you want it to be, based on the number of contracts you trade. But you can't start trading a lot of contracts just because you have some money. Doesn't matter if you're a cajillionaire. Did I get that right? Cajillionaire? Or is it gazillion?
Gajillion.
Gajillionaire. There we go. Okay. You could be a cajillionaire, and you still, if you're going to hang with us, if you want to roll like we roll, you have to start with one contract. Well, first you're going to be in the simulator until you're consistently profitable. Then you're going to go live with one, and you'll stick with one until you've earned $1,000. Once you've earned $1,000, you've earned the right to go to 2 contracts, and you just doubled your rate of pay. Earn another 1,000, you can go to 3. Earn another 1,000, you can go to 4. Now, there will be times where you'll make 1 step forward, 2 steps back. There will be times when you get a little rattled and you have to pop back into the simulator for a couple days, maybe even a week, to get your bearings. That's okay. See, some folks get hung up and, well, gee, I won't really be a trader if I go back to the simulator, or I'm not a real man, whatever that means, if I go back to the simulator. No, it means you're a very wise man, and you probably are a trader because you recognize that you need to go back, get your bearings, get on solid ground, and continue your forward journey. Remember, as long as you fall on your face, that's forward progress. Get up and fall again. Get up and fall again. Guess what? Pretty soon you'll be at your destination. May have a banged up nose, but
Yeah.
It'd
be better if you could take a few steps or you can crawl a little in between.
All right, guys, that's kind of much. What in the world am I saying? That's about it for me. I'm going to let Michael, or ask Michael, if he would please come and do the recap, cover what happened in the live trading room today. And as soon as he's finished, we'll pop over to Mr. David Williams, Las Vegas, Nevada, at Page Trader. We'll see what he's got cooking on this pre-holiday Wednesday. I've got a couple of interesting headlines I'll cover later in the show. And I won't even go into them right now. We'll hold up. Michael, it's all yours.
All right, let me grab the chart. All right, there you guys should be looking at.
And I've got your charts, and I'm going on mute.
Excellent. All right, so here we are. Let me bring up my spreadsheet so we can all see where we are. There we go. All right, let me start the recording, and we'll get rolling. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Today is the 3rd day of July, 2013. And let's just go over the results from the live trading room this morning. We were plus 21 ticks in soybeans, plus 11 ticks in crude oil, 5 ticks in gold, and 1 tick in copper. On the month, so far the month of July, we're up $582.50 a contract. That's the gross number. The net number after 8 bucks per turn will be $278.5. This morning it took us, this morning, I don't know why I have a 20 in this one. That's not even a calculated one. This morning it took us 62 minutes and 7 trades to reach our 2 points. We had $130 per contract in the account at that 2-point mark. We made a total of 11 trades this morning. Okay, I'll go over all the trades shortly. Now, we're starting a new month. We're up $582.50 gross. Last month we were up $5,220 by the end of the month. Month before that, $62.92.50. Month before that, $53.92.50. The month before that, $52.02.5. Month before that, $39.05, and the month before that, $4,047. That's what the month totals have been on the year so far. Okay, I just wanted to go through that because we are at the midpoint for the year. Now let's just add all that up. 5220 plus 6292.5 plus 5392.5 plus 5202.5 plus 3905 plus 4047.5. All right, hey, that's kind of cool. At the 6-month mark on the year, in the live trading room per contract, we have made $30,060. $30,060 in the live trading room. You can see we add on the 582.50 now. It'll be a little bit more than that, but that's all right. That's a fair amount, I think. Anyway, sliding this off, and we'll get into the trades. If you've not taken a free trial with us at CFRN, then go to www.cfrn.net/apply, sign up for the free trial. When you sign up for the free trial, you'll be sent an email that has a link in it with a video. You got to watch and click on that link, watch the video. It shows you how to download the indicators. It shows you how to go to the indicator store, download the indicators, download the charting platform. It may even show you how to look in your email and find the thing that's got your ID and password that will be generated for you, automatically generated, sent off to you. If you're taking the trial, take the trial. Take advantage of everything we have to offer. Take the charts, take the indicators, come to the live trading room as often as you can. You get 2 hours per day in the live trading room for 5 business days. Come as often as you can, because you're going to need, if one day you're only there for a few minutes and you only see, a losing trade, well, that's not going to help you make a decision, is it? But if you, the same the same thing for if you come and sit in the live trading room for a few minutes and you only see one winning trade. Well, you don't really have a lot of information to base your decision upon. So the chances are you wouldn't make any decision. You'd just go away and think that think nothing of it. The idea of the free trial is so that you will get enough information to make a decision that could possibly change your life. All right, enough said. I'm going to get into the trades we took today. I had a life-changing trade today. It wasn't really life-changing, but it was a very long trade for me. In soybeans right here. Soybeans was our big winner on the day. We ended up plus 21 ticks on soybeans. That's, I don't know what that is, 21 times 12.5. That is $262.50 per contract. Our first trade on soybeans was right here. We got short right up here on the down close off the BBC with the bearish divergence in the red cycle. We got short. We took 4 ticks profit on that trade. Yeah, for me, Jonathan, look at this one right here. I got short in here. What time was it? It was 9:58. It was actually, it seemed like it was before 9:58. It was before the news event. I remember that. But anyway, I got short in there. We'll say 9:58. And I didn't exit the trade until way over here at 10:58. That was an hour. An hour. You know how many trades I normally take in an hour? That was just crazy. Anyway, were you in the room this morning with us? I didn't look at the list of folks who was in the room. It was a big list. Okay. Anyway, when I took the trade, I thought it was going to keep moving down. I had said I expect it to move down to this level down here. I had drawn it in down here. All right. I had said if we broke through this level right here, then we should see a good move down to that other level. And it hasn't proved me wrong yet. It's still working its way down, apparently. But our first opportunity was up here. We got short. We took 4 ticks. The next one, I think we took 14 ticks, and then we took 3 ticks. That's how it came together for us. And that was the soybeans today. That was the soybeans. Going to slide over here to crude oil now. We had crude inventories come out today, guys. That caused a lot of activity right around 10:30. They really missed on the crude. Look at all these bars right here, from 10:30 to 10:31. we took a short here at 10, well, right here where it started to slow down. I jumped in on a short trade right here and took 10 ticks profit. We did take, oh, where's my list? Hold on. Here it is. We did take crude. Yeah, we took some more trades on crude. Where the heck are they? There was this one right here where we stopped out. That was pretty early on. We stopped out like that. And I don't see any other ones marked up in here. Oh, there they are. Okay, I knew there were some other ones. We took a short over here. We took a little bit of profit on that. Took a long over here. A little bit of profit on that. We missed this long. We missed this long. There was nothing in here. We had the bearish divergence, but no opportunity. Then we missed this short and this short and this long, and that pretty much wrapped it up for us. We missed a bunch of opportunities here on the crude. You can see, I mean, we ended up okay on the crude. We're up 11 ticks, which is the equivalent of 2 points, but we did have one losing trade. That started out our day right there. That loss, well, actually the very first trade was gold, and we were break even on it. And then we had the crude trade, which we lost, and then we had beans and more gold and more beans and all sorts of things. Sort of a holidays type trading. We had beans and all that. Let's see. Jumping here to the Russell. I didn't trade a single thing on the Russell today. There was one trade that I started to point out at the end of the live trading room. It was right here, this up close. Okay, that was the only thing that I pointed out on the Russell. There were more opportunities during the break, but I did not take part in any of them. There's a short happening right now. The original short would have been right here. Okay, right there. And if you missed that one, you could have done it again, right there. All right, that's all there is on the Russell. I didn't take a single trade. The Russell and the ES were really, really choppy this morning, until right at the end of the live trading room. Okay, when the European markets closed, then everything started to move. It seemed like it was just setting up that way. Let's see, on gold. Where am I on gold? On gold, we had +5. Let me blow up the gold so you can see it. Okay, this was our very first trade of the morning right here on gold, and we ended up taking a break even. Then gold got really sideways, and we just ignored it for a while. So it started to move. Once it finally started to move, we jumped in, we took some profit. And then we missed trades, missed a trade there, we missed a trade there. There was no trade in here. It made a big move up, we missed that. We had one partner that made 75 ticks from here to here. We got a break even on this one over here. Okay. Got a break even on that one. We didn't take anything in here. I'm just looking at this, and there was a trade in here, but we had very limited divergence. Trade in here that we had highlighted in the room was a long trade. Worked out okay. No follow-up. No follow-through. I think that's why I wasn't trading much gold here. Did I trade it right here? I don't think I actually took this trade. I don't know why I have a yellow arrow on there. But that up close there was a long trade, and it went 4 ticks. I don't think I actually took it, but here, take that off. I'll put the ellipse on it right there. Okay. I wouldn't have traded again on the long side until you get a close up above this level. That happened over here. Once you got the close up above that level, there was a long trade right in here. What time was that? 11:11. That would have stopped you out. Then I would have been looking for another close above that level. And there was another long trade right here. Okay. And that was pretty much it on the gold. The short trade right here that we missed. That was a nice one right there that we missed. Another short trade over here that we missed. That would have stopped you out too. Okay. And that was it on gold. We ended gold +5 ticks on 3 trades. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 trades. All right. Let's see. You're going to slide gold off. What else do we trade? Copper. Let me show you the copper. The trade that we took on copper, I think we got 1 tick profit on it. It was right here, but copper did offer up another trade in here, a long trade right there. That really worked out well. Okay, we got short over here on the down close below the trend line, and it went 6 ticks, I think, in favor. I know one of the guys, one of our partners, Matt, got 6 ticks out of it. I moved my stop to break even plus a tick, and that's where I ended up getting out on the copper. Let's see on the bonds, the 30-year bonds. One of the fellas that was on the trial this morning asked me to take a look at the 30-year bonds. There was not a lot of movement today. We had a shorting opportunity right in here. There was another shorting opportunity right over here. That's pretty much it on the bonds today. Okay, the NQ, we didn't really look at the NQ at all this morning. Okay, so I'm going to skip over the NQ. And that's it. I believe that's it. All right, so let me summarize. There is no partners meeting tomorrow night this week. No partners meeting tomorrow night. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to www.cfrn.net/apply, sign up for the free trial. If you have taken the free trial with us and you want to become a partner, send us a quick email at support@cfrn.net and we'll send you off all the latest information about what it takes to become a partner. All right, that is where I'm going to wrap up the recording. Now, Dwayne, are you there? Dwayne? I got to text him again. All right. While we wait for Dwayne to come back on. Dwayne, you can come back on now. While we wait for him to come back on, we will. I'll just flip back into live trading room mode. Since I didn't trade the Russell at all today, we have a pullback here and we have bearish divergence. This is a close at the trend line, not below the trend line. So what I would look for. What I would look for here is a down close on the current bar. If you get a down close on the current bar, that would be a short trade. The down close will be right there at 88.2. If it's going to happen, it's going to be there at 88.2. Okay, this bar could close up, in which case we would have to move our trend line. But if it closes down, it's going to close at 88.2, and that would be a valid short trade. What we'd be looking for then is for the green line to move down, and there's the down close right there. So I'm trying to short 88.1 right now, and I'm not getting filled. All right, well, there it was, guys, 88.2. All right, I just took my order off. I didn't fill, but the down close was right there. Okay, 88.2 was the down close, and you can see in those 10 or 15 seconds right there is the equivalent of 2 points just about so far. Eight ticks so far. There it is. There's the 2-point mark. That right there was the equivalent. There you go. Dwayne's back. Hey,
were you calling for me? I'm sorry.
I was.
Oh.
I was. But that's okay. That right there was the equivalent of a 2-point move. That's a day's work right there, guys. And it took all of about 10 seconds.
Now, that's probably a foreign concept to a lot of folks when you say, well, that's a day's work. Let us try to explain for just a moment what that means and why we use that terminology. You may be thinking that, well, if I become a trader, the markets are open from 9:30 to 4, and so I'll be working all of those hours. And it's true, you might choose to write your business plan and trading plan in such a manner that you will be in your office, wherever that might be, for 8 hours a day, but you won't be trading for 8 hours. Now, you might be if you follow a different path than the path that we are on or the path that we personally employ. I know very few traders who consciously trade bell to bell. Mike Reed is one of them. He does it, and he does it well, and he's done it for many years. But of all the traders I know, I only know a couple that have mastered that art. The other successful traders that I know have a daily goal, whether it's a couple points or maybe it's a dollar amount or maybe it's 1 point. I know one guy, his daily goal is just 1 point. Okay? Now, his risk reward and to me is lopsided, but I've watched him for a few years and he does okay. It's not something I would attempt to do, but anyway, that's what works for him. Okay? And you have to find really what works for you so that you have confidence in it. But 2 points in the S&P 500 or 8 ticks is $100. Now, if you go into crude, gold, and the other contracts, there's varying ticks that add up to 2 points or $100. What is it in gold and what is it in crude, Michael?
Gold and crude are each $10 a tick. So
$10 a tick. So 10 ticks there, yeah, as opposed to
ticks. Yep, just like the Russell. Yep.
Yeah, because the S&P is $12.50 per tick, and gold and crude are $10 per tick. The euro's $12.50 a tick. Soybeans are $12.50 a tick.
Copper. Yep.
Copper. So when we talk about getting 2 points, we're talking about per contract. We're talking about basically earning $100. And of course, you go, well, I can't live on $100 a day. Now, we do have partners who live in parts of the world where $100 a day is big money. I mean, they don't even have to increase their number of contracts, and they're living large based upon the local economy that they live in. But that's another story. The majority, the larger percentage of our partners are in fact here in the U.S., and in most U.S. households, you do need an income greater than $100 per day. But it is a great place to start. If you think about it, $500 a week at $100 a day, that's $500 a week. That's $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year. That's not quote unquote big money, but I know some people who work very hard to get an hourly wage or a salary that's equivalent of $24,000 a year. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, $12 an hour. Let's go 12 times 40.
24 grand, roughly.
$12 an hour comes out to 24 grand, right?
Roughly.
Roughly. Okay, yeah. So that's what I was thinking because I happen to know somebody that earns that, and they work very hard for that money. So even if you were just trading the one contract and never increased your number of contracts, it's a livable wage. Well, I don't know about livable if you're a single income household, but let me not digress too far here. What we want to impart to you is that that's the core, that's the foundation of your business plan and your trading plan. Remember, you're going to stay in that simulator until you're consistently profitable. Now, just because you achieve consistent profitability doesn't guarantee you'll always be profitable. I mean, there are going to be, good days and bad days and up days, and there'll always be things to deal with and address. But that's the starting point. You then go live with one contract, and you only trade one until you've earned $1,000. In other words, if you opened your account with, to just pick a number, $5,000, once your balance is at $6,000, you go to 2 contracts. Okay? And when your account balance is at $7,000, and again, I'm just pulling a number out of the air, you earn another $1,000, you add the third and you continue to build. Remember, you're starting with a very solid foundation, and then you're slowly adding one more brick in the wall, one more brick in the wall, okay? And at what point do you stop adding contracts? Maybe you don't. Maybe you get to 5 and you're very comfortable there, and you don't want any additional pressure, and you leave it at that. Or maybe you go to 10. As some of you know, we've had a guest come on our show a number of times over the years. A friend of David's, actually, who he introduced to the radio show, and we now consider him a friend of ours, Michael, who trades, not this Michael, but another Michael. He trades, on average, 10,000 E-mini contracts a day. I know that's hard to fathom or even imagine, but it is a fact, and we know it to be a fact. It's been fully vetted. There's no smoke being blown up anybody's chimney. He's literally a one-man institution unto himself. But when asked on this radio program, what do you consider to be a good day in the markets? He didn't come back with a dollar amount. He said to me, and you can go listen to the podcast, any day that I can take a couple of points out of the market, that's a great day for me. You might be thinking, well, gee, if I could trade that many contracts, a couple points would be enough for me. All right, hang on. When we ask him, well, how did you get to that many contracts? He says, well, I started out really small, and then as I made some money in the markets, I increased the number of contracts I traded. And I'm like, no, seriously, how'd you really do it? Well, I really started out very small, and as I earned money in the market, I added contracts. Now, that's a true story, guys. So I'm not saying that you should strive to someday trade that many contracts. That's not part of my goals. Remember, we've talked about goals. They have to be definable, measurable, doable. Okay. Trading that many contracts in a day, it is definable, it is measurable, but you know what? With my skill set and my temperament, I don't really know that it's doable. For me, anyway. So I don't burden myself with that. You, as you write your business plan and trading plan, you'll decide what's appropriate for you. What's most important is that you lay the solid foundation, okay? The solid foundation of learning how to read a chart, learning how to trade. And so each day our goal is to take a couple points out of the market. In the live trading room, once we have our couple points, Michael continues to trade for the entire 2 hours, because that's why partners come on board to see this trade setup executed again and again. And the more times you see it, that repetition helps you to understand the consistency of what we do and what you can learn to do if you apply yourself. Remember, as with all things in life, you tend to get out of something what you put into it. It's a bit proportionate that way. So, Michael, anything you want to add to that before we go to Vegas?
Not to that. No, I think you put it together pretty well there.
Well, thank you. Oh, there's no trading room tomorrow and no radio show tomorrow, but there will be a conference call at 9 a.m. Eastern. For those of you that don't know, we have a morning devotional and 20-minute prayer session every day. Everyone's invited. It's open to the public. If you Google Traders Prayer Breakfast, Google it, Traders Prayer Breakfast, and then bookmark that page. Every day, dial the number, join the call, and you can identify yourself. You can be anonymous. You can participate. You can share. You can lead. It's it's not a religious gathering. Okay, we don't have long flowing robes with tassels. We're just some guys humbling ourselves before God before we start our day. That's how we choose to start our day, and we invite you to come and join us. Maybe it might be good for you. I don't know, but the door's open. And so Frank will. Now, I may not be there tomorrow morning. Paul, I don't think is going to be there tomorrow morning, but Frank. Bless you, brother. Frank is so dependable and reliable, and he'll be there tomorrow morning. He will open up and lead the prayer tomorrow morning. So any of you that maybe can't normally come because you're working and you've got tomorrow off, come hang out, all right? And I'm going to try to be there myself. So, all right, with that said, we're going to pause. You sure there's nothing else you need to add, Michael?
Nothing at the moment.
All right.
Nothing at the moment. We may have a schedule change next week, but you and I need to talk about that.
Yeah, that kind of just, the whole thought, that creeps me out because I'm such a creature of habit. Changing my schedule, I don't know.
It's more my schedule that changes.
Be gentle, all right?
Okay.
All right. All right, guys. We're going to pause for a brief station identification. We'll be right back with David Williams from Page Trader. Oh, this time I'm going to remember to click that button. Hey, I clicked it. We'll be right back with David Williams from PageTrader.com.
You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310.
Good morning, Dwayne.
David, good morning and welcome to the show. Good to have you with us.
Well, thank you very much. Nice to be here today. Pre-holiday market movement slowing down a little bit. Markets have quieted up just a little bit. They're still moving.
Yeah, yeah,
But
they're still
starting to see. Yeah, starting to see a little bit of that. The movement that says most of us are in our cars driving to go to our 4-day weekend.
Is that where
type of
is that
movement.
is that where
That's
you
what-
are? Is that
the
where you
pattern
are?
recognition. No, I'm actually in front of my screen.
Are you? Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm watching it here. But we've said this before. We're off on tomorrow, of course, because the markets are closed. We're also off on Friday because Friday typically is going to be a slow, quiet day, and we don't want to. Our Messenger Pro product is on the entire day, rather than run people through a whole day. Looking for one little or two little trades perhaps, and maybe not even that, depending on the market movement. I think it's best for people to take the time off, have a wonderful weekend, and really enjoy the beginning of summer, and do that with a nice barbecue or whatever. If you live in Las Vegas, you don't have to actually have a barbecue. You can just stand out in the sun, and you'll be barbecued. So it saves you money by living in Las Vegas because you don't have to spend that extra money on a barbecue.
I was out in the sun a little too long yesterday, quite frankly.
Yeah, you get as much sun as you need, trying all you can to avoid it. You get enough.
Right, let me show you exactly. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, you may have heard it's a bit warm in Phoenix today. And can you see my screen?
Oh, Dwayne, I have the charts, I think.
Oh,
I think
let's
I
fix
saw the
that.
charts.
Thanks.
Okay.
I'd have been showing that picture to myself. Okay, come on.
Come on, baby. Got the come on, baby indicator out.
We got a hang in our cycle here. Come on, that's too much hang time. No, there we go.
Yeah, there it is.
Hey, that picture blew up. Why is that picture so big?
I don't know. It is big, though.
Goodness
That's a
gracious.
close-up.
That's what my mom means when she says, "Son, those pictures you send me are so big, I can't see them." But anyway, I was in the sun a little too much yesterday. Turned my hair white. The whole
I can see that.
Yeah. I had no idea those pictures blew up like that. I had to fix that. So anyway, I was just having fun with my new phone. It's got the photo booth app that allows you to play around with pictures. And I sent it to Michael, but I don't know if I sent it to you, David. Did I send you the link to download the Vine app?
I think you did.
All right.
I think you did in my
need to get busy.
email.
Get busy on that now.
Download that Vine app. Okay.
All right.
Well, I'll definitely take a look at that. Now, we do have some important information coming out on Friday, which is the employment report.
Yes.
It's going to occur. Isn't it beautifully timed? It occurs when really very few people are going to be in the markets, watching the markets, and so on. And the employment information should be interesting to see if we're getting an improvement in the number of people who have a job. We really have had very nominal improvement over the last 5 years, nearly 5 years now, under this administration. They're not sure of what to do with this. I don't think, honestly, they particularly care, except as it might affect them politically. But nothing's really happened. We have to depend on the economy itself to recover itself, rather than any special programs like the green energy program, the millions that they've spent on that, and so on, or billions, or whatever it's been. They've given a lot of money to companies that have gone out of business, thusly proving that money does not solve business problems. You either have to run a successful business, or you don't. Somebody can hand you all the money in the world, and you're just going to run through that money, and you're still going to go out of business. So
no, that's very true. And over the years, as I ran businesses and had employees, and they would come to me with financial issues and problems, sometimes I knew that helping them was not going to help them. You know what I mean? In other words, I could give them the money they were asking for. I had the means to do it, but it wasn't going to fix the underlying problem. And so I would look for commitments out of them. I would go, okay, look, first I need you understand why you're in this situation or this predicament. Well, yeah, okay. And so then we would set about figuring out a solution so that this didn't happen again. And I used to draw up contracts with my employees. In other words, they would come to me and they would need a loan of X amount of dollars, whatever it might be, 500, 2 grand, because of whatever it might be. And we would first identify how they got into this situation, because I made sure that my employees, by and large, earned a livable wage to the best of my ability. And once they were able to identify, to my satisfaction, the problem, we would then draw up a contract about how they were going to modify their behavior, their spending patterns, their recovery that they were in, whatever it might be, and that I was going to hold that paycheck, and that I was going to help them manage their money and pay their bills. And so my secretary became their secretary, and that they would come in, you know, at the end of the month with their water bill and their electric bill, and we taught them how to manage their money so that they could not only get out of the jackpot that they were in, but that they could begin to lay a solid foundation for the rest of their life. And, you know, for some of the people, it really did help. And for some, of course, it didn't. But it's what you're saying right now. Throwing money at a problem, just throwing money at a problem, does not fix the problem.
Well, you ought to tell that to our government.
Yeah, if they would listen. I mean, often it just exacerbates the problem. So.
Yeah, it does. It's just not a workable thing, and we found that out, and we're, you know, as everybody probably knows, many people don't really care. They think it'll all work out in the end, but it does matter. It will affect everybody, just like the housing crisis affected everybody with a home. That's just one crisis. What happens when America as an entire country has a crisis? What are you going to do then? So I mean, a lot of people really can't do anything about this. They feel, well, there's nothing I can do about it, so I'm just going to live my life. And honestly, that's about how I am. But, you know, spending that kind of money and getting us into this kind of debt is going to be very painful to extract ourselves. Anybody has ever been in debt, and you remember how difficult it is to unwind and slowly pay off all of the debt that you've gotten yourself into? It takes sometimes a number of years to move through all that and be done with it. And then finally when you're done, you think, boy, I'm sure, you know, not going to do that again. And then you go right out and do it again. That's just the nature of the beast. One of the things that happens to people is they believe that because they're not being presented with the opportunity to do wrong, that they're over it. But they're not over it. It's just not been presented to them as an opportunity. Once the opportunity gets presented again, then they do the exact same thing again. It's very easy to think that you're over something when that something simply isn't present in front of you for a little while. Maybe for whatever reason it's just not in your life right now, that particular ability to do that thing. But you know what I'm saying? That happens to people, where you believe you're over something, and it's just that something hasn't presented itself to you. So you got to be careful with that whole business, and you really have to take your own life more seriously than your credit card, because your credit card or your ability to spend money or drink or all the problems that people have will just take you until you're nothing. That's what they do. It's just a machine that catches you, and you have to be smarter than the machine. So anyway, we got onto that only because I'd love to have people have a wonderful weekend this weekend, 4-day weekend, wonderful beginning of the summer here. And we certainly, for people who are coming to our seminar in August out here, the 24th and 25th, you won't need to bring a jacket. That'll be sure. Just leave your jacket at home, because you won't be needing it at day or night. Right now, the temperatures at nighttime here are 108. What do you have there today, Dwayne, or do you know?
Where's my device? Let's see. Let's see what my temperature is today. Right now, 93 degrees. Is that possible?
That seems a little low, actually.
Yeah. I'm looking at my weather app on my phone. It says the high expected today is 111. So
Okay, and we're at 101 out here right now.
yeah, I'm sure that 93 is probably not accurate.
No, you can't. You're not going to be less than us here. So anyway,
Now, up here on the screen, I've got the reports that come out on Friday, guys. High impact non-farm payrolls, medium impact private non-farm payrolls, and then another high impact unemployment rate. They are looking for 7.5%. Let's see, is that that's the forecast is 7.5, and the previous number was, let's see, the forecast 7.5, the previous was 7.6. So the last time it was 7.6, they're looking for 7.5. Who knows what we'll get. Participation may be light Friday because of the holiday. That doesn't mean price can't move a great distance on light volume, because it can. Some would say it's even easier to push the ball around when there's not as much resistance present. So give that some thought. We're going to be here. As David said, he's taking the day, or Page Trader's taking the day off, but David is going to come.
I'll be at my office. Yeah, I'll be at my office. We're going to be managing what we're doing here, but
Gotcha.
Our business will be closed.
Okay.
So anyway, so that's interesting. So yeah, it'll be fun to see what how the holiday is here. We've got a lot of neat little things that could happen here in Las Vegas. We certainly, for those of you that are coming to Las Vegas this weekend on July 4th, all of the hotels, I'm not sure if they're doing it this year or not, but they have, for a number of years, they all independently shoot fireworks off the roof of their hotel. So the whole strip gets lit up, lots of fireworks, lots of things flying through the air, and it can be a lot of fun. And we have, the Las Vegas Boulevard is probably got more Secret Service agents, more police presence, more. It's a very secure place. You can pretty much rest assured you're in pretty good hands out here if you're in Las Vegas. I hope I don't have to eat my words on that, but there's a lot of people that come here. The roads are blocked off for midnight, or not for midnight, but for the fireworks shooting and all that stuff. So it should be pretty fun. So I'm looking forward to it as well, Dwayne.
Yep, we're going to take it easy. We may go to the fireworks, but other than that, no big plans. No big plans for the holiday. They're having quite the to-do right now in Egypt. Have you seen all of this in the streets with the people? And is this going to turn ugly? I see all the tanks, the military vehicles, the Hummers, all of that. This could not. Well, are they still letting the Twitter go through? Let me just pull that up right now. Let's go to Twitter.
This is Mubarak. Is that his name or no?
Is that his name, guys?
I can't remember. I can't remember his name.
Let's just search pound Cairo. Well, it looks like a trending is Cairo unrest, but we'll just go to. Okay, 7 killed in clashes in Cairo. Egypt's health ministry says as pro and anti-government protesters take to the streets. Let's see something. If we can find something from the street. Anonymous, now in Cairo. This is somebody that's on the ground. Tense situation, soldiers present in force on the Nile Bridge. And he's posted a picture for us. Right there, guys. This is real. This is happening right now. Okay. What an interesting time we live in technologically, that this is happening right now in Egypt. Growing up, my grandfather would have been very interested in this, but he would have had to wait for the 7 o'clock news with Walter Cronkite to come on TV, or wait for the newspaper to be delivered tomorrow. But here, within seconds, we have. This picture was taken 37 minutes ago. And it's right here on my desktop. That's just, So, guys, keep these folks in your prayers, because this weekend, and if you want to, again, just go to Twitter and stay on top of it. One that's popular and trending right now is Cairo unrest. Okay, or just pound Cairo, or you can probably go just pound Egypt. EG. That's probably a pretty busy feed right now. Pound Egypt. That's right there. Look at that. That's people. Look at that. See, can you see that, Dave?
Sure, and that's people that don't want the fellow, and I can't think of his name, in office anymore. He's had his chance. He didn't do very well, and the people have had their fill of him, and the military wants to, I'm not sure what the military is going to do, but we're imminent there. This country has been manhandled by one dictator after another, and one of the things about America that has, because of the internet and other things, is that everybody knows about the freedoms that we have here. Even as they're being encroached upon and overregulated and so on, we still have an awful lot of freedom. And people want that. Something George Bush said a long time ago is that every human being wants to be free. Every human being wants freedom, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he was referring to people all over the world that are in these tin pot dictatorships. You know, man gets hold of power. He just cannot let it go. He will die to hold on to that power. That's just how human nature at that level works. This guy is no different.
Morsi, is that the guy's name you're trying to think of? Morsi,
yeah, Morsi. I think Mubarak may have been the last guy, who I don't know if he's still alive. I'm not sure if he...
I think he got spirited away to somewhere, I think.
Okay.
Egypt's Morsi issued a Facebook statement offering a national coalition government to lead the country until parliament elections are held. It says here that gang rapes and violence against women in Egypt is the elephant in the room. That came off of, well, they're referencing something on CNN. This supposedly is a live video feed. I don't know if it'll stream or not. Let's take a quick look. If it is going to, it'll take it a while to load, so I'll just move it I'll just move it off to the side. If it starts to stream, I'll pull it back up. So, yeah, guys, this is full military coup underway right now, according to the Muslim Brotherhood. That's the breaking headline. Full military coup underway. So, yeah, here we go. I've got live video feed. Appears to be live. Yeah, according to this, it is. There's no audio, guys, because I run my audio and video off two separate computers, but you can just Google it. It's everywhere. Okay, Dave, I guess we'll go to the markets.
Well, the markets are closed, as you know. The half day, they just closed.
Oh, that's right, they did. They just closed. We talked about that at the beginning of the show, that the markets were about to close, and here they have closed.
Yeah, so we're through with the markets, and it should be interesting to see how this plays out over this holiday weekend. There's a lot of especially with the market barely trading on Friday and the report and everything else that we have coming out. We'll see. But if you'd like, Dwayne, we can go over some of this stuff, unless you want to go over the S&P.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, let's do that. We've got quite a bit, not just in the S&P, but a number of markets here today that I think have done important things and completions and so on. The S&P, they're closing it at 1609 today. That is a decent close, all things considered. The market is in an uptrend, as we've talked about. We believe that the market's going to continue higher in spite of news and other things to complete important price targets on the upside, the 1623.24, 1634, and so on on the upside. And so that's where we think it's going. With the holiday and with everything else here, you know, there may be a little bit of a flip around on that, but either way, generally speaking, the holidays don't stop the market from completing their normal movement to where they want to go. So that's our bigger picture. The even bigger picture than that is the weekly setups that we've talked about so many times. Going back to May 20th, the week of May 20th, our outlook was if they closed the week below 1666, we would then have a multi-week decline from May 20th forward, and that bottom was forecast for the week of for the week of July 1st, and that weekly bottom came 1 week early last week on the week of June 24th. So this weekly bottom wants to continue to move higher. That's likely. That's why I'm saying that we're going to see higher prices here. Some of our longer-term traders are in for the multi-week move. Some of them trade in futures contracts, which is, a more intense kind of position to hold over the weekend and over long weekends. And then also some are using option positions, which are selling time premium, as an example, to collect the premium and let time decay and market movement work in your favor. So to summarize, higher prices are coming in spite of whatever news and so on. We think we're going to be seeing higher prices into next week. And that's our take on the S&P, Dwayne. It's short and simple.
Okay. Well, we had mentioned that on Monday we thought we might possibly have seen the high of the week on Monday, and at the moment that looks like it's going to be the case. We do have the Friday trade and participation. We'll see what happens, but and I wrote about this last night on the blog. Whether this is the high of the week or not doesn't really affect us. I mean, sometimes I make comments and then I go, well, okay. It's like when they were going on and on about how there was this incredible streak of Tuesdays where there was like 14 Tuesdays in a row where the S&P had been positive. Okay. And what do you want me to do with that? Am I supposed to just be long next Tuesday? I mean, the odds maker would say you're due for a break, but yet we know that each day is unique, and so you can't. It's like coin flips. You can't base it on that. And so whether the high for the week is in or not, we'll have trades available on the Globex Open tomorrow night. We will tweet the open, and we'll be active on Friday trading whatever the market hands us. If we can take out this high, we do have the number overhead that we were trying to get to back on, let me go back to this chart. We had a weekly trading zone up here at 1624/25. And on Monday, it looked for all the world like that's where we were headed. And then when we couldn't get there, that was the first little indication that, all right, that might be it. And then we put in this lower high on Tuesday. And now that the markets are closed for today, we definitely have a series of lower highs here. So, and if we take this number out to the downside, then we'll look for 87, 88 below us on Friday. So those from here, from where we sit right now, and we have a zone that's right smack dab in the middle. I don't have it on this chart. Let me just pop it up there real quick. 1601/1602. So that covers all of the zones. So I don't suspect that we'll break 24.25 to the upside Friday or 87.88 to the downside. But again, if we do, we'll trade that. So here I go again saying things that I'm asked as it's coming off my lips. It's like, well, why are you even saying that? Because it's not going to affect how you trade. So let me just rewind that. All right, go ahead, Dave. Back to you, caller.
Okay. All right, well, let's move on. Let's go through a few of these markets. We have a number of completions on our end here for what we did this week, and some of them were completed today. So let's take a quick look at gold, move through this, and we'll zip through some of these markets. We had actually a very interesting week. It's only Wednesday, but a lot of things happened this week, as a lot of things happened in the last 4 or 5 weeks. As we know, we've had the bigger moves, lots of unusual, good, sizable movement in both directions in a wide range of markets. In gold, back on the 28th of June, just a few days ago, we had forecast that gold would continue to advance and would move to 1268 on the upside. Yesterday, the market got to 1267 and sold off. For those of you who might want to, well, since I've already mentioned this in the, we've already taken our trade in the institutional group, I can tell you that I think we're going to retest, as I mentioned yesterday, the 1268 level into July 4th, either through Globex or July 5th on Friday. So if you are of a mind and you are trading, I like the idea of buying the gold to continue the advance up and retest. I mean, we're trading right now 1252, so on the large contract 1268 at or near. There's easily $1,000 per contract in there if you want to take that trade. We had a nice trade on the way up, but because they completed the 1268 at or near, by hitting 67, because they completed that a day or two early, for all practical purposes, the trade is done. And for the listeners, if you want to, I think you're going to see a retest of that level coming into Friday or Monday. Or, basically July 4th is the actual on-time day, and there will be some Globex trading on July 4th. So we may even see it get completed tomorrow. But you have to realize that because of that holiday, it could, the day, it could be off by a little bit. We'll see. Okay, so the gold was one nice completion that we had. For us, our entry was on the close of the 28th of June. In other words, that would be by the market closing above a certain level, that would indicate a long position. By the time they closed on the 28th, they were way up at 1234, but that still left enough room for a nice trade up to 68. So that itself is about a $3,400 move up to 68. So pretty nice swing in gold. This is a market that anybody with the margin requirement, like any other market, can trade. But I think gold is very tradable. Some markets aren't as tradable as gold, I think. I think gold's pretty good. Okay.
It is. You just have to be able to, as you said, deal with the margin requirements. And if you don't know what those are, you can Google CFRN contract specifications, or call Bert is your best bet, 866-928-3310. I'll put that in the chat box. He may have already left for the day, but you can catch him on Friday. He'll be in the office, and he can go over those requirements with you. The day trading margins are different than the overnight margins. Okay, they do increase, but you've got to be prepared for that. Otherwise, you will get the dreaded margin call. So it's very important that you be aware of those. Now, David, there was a question for you yesterday from Ed that I don't think I had a chance to get to, and now Ed has asked that question again. So let me just put it to you. David, will you please explain the importance of closes in your work, since it seems that you focus on the close versus highs and lows? Are the closes important for the reflected wave methodology or the roadmaps?
Okay. A lot of people focus on highs and lows, and there's nothing wrong with highs and lows. The market indeed will need to run to important highs and lows. But very similar to other what would be the word be, like where groups of people are, where people get together in a group form. Very similar to that, the market has a tendency that I've noticed over many years of doing this to kind of show their hand on the close. They might not show their hand during the day, but at the end of the time period, they show their hand by closing above or below important levels. And this has been something that has been a big part of my work since observing the fact that the market can indeed go to extreme levels but then close well and then follow through where in the direction that the forecast would have originally had. So I do look at closes, and I do think to myself, what are they saying with this close? Not directly as a candlestick thing. Candlesticks are fine, and you can utilize them, and they have a lot of interesting and useful patterns and things that you can do with it. But I'm a little bit more of a person that is saying, instead of looking at a pattern per se, I'm really saying to myself, what does this close really say to me about my position, or my my intended position, or my already position. What does it say? So if the market, like gold the other day, went down, or let's go to T-bonds. Let me give you an example in the T-bond market, because this is a very similar setup in the T-bonds. This is the U.S. September 30-year Treasury bond. Okay, so a few days back on the 26th, we had a forecast for the T-bond market that required them to close above 133.27. So the trade was, if they close above 133.27, then this market will go up to 136.06 into July 2nd, yesterday. That's the trade. During the day, the market got below the level of 133.27 and got down to 133.20. But now take a look at the 26th, and you can see they closed at 134.31. Mm-hmm. In technical terms, the hell higher. Mm-hmm. Now, what does that tell me about the market? Well, it tells me that the market attempted to try to get through some important levels on the downside. They weren't able to, and they closed in kind of on the happy side of that number. Maybe that's a good way of putting it.
There you go.
So by closing on the happy side, as opposed to thinking of it, and again, no disrespect to any of the candlestick patterns, but just ask yourself, what does this close mean to me and my outlook for the market, or my hoped outlook, or my forecast? And that close meant everything to me, because it allowed me to say with great certainty that the likelihood, and that's all we deal with, is likelihoods, probabilities. The likelihood was that the market was going to go and run up and complete the 136.06 that was due on July 2nd. Had they not closed well, the likelihood would have been much less for me. Again, it's a likelihood. It's not an absolute. So I tend to use the closes to help improve the probabilities, because unlike many traders, I don't think in terms of making, and this has no disrespect to any system or methodology, but I think in terms of probabilities first, money second. Many people think in terms of money first, and we'll get around and see if we can find something that has those probabilities. That doesn't work or didn't work for me. It might work for others, but in my particular case, I'm looking for the probabilities first, and with the probabilities in order, then, and in many cases, I have to take less of a gain, because sometimes by the time all the probabilities are in order, you've given up some of your trade. Both the gold trade had a big close the other day up, on the 28th, and that's where we'd be buying. It still left 3,400 on the table for a per contract trade up to 67. And then this bond trade that we talked about the other day, they closed real well. It still left money, plenty of it, on the table. I'm not trying necessarily, in any case, to get the entire swing. I'm trying to get a high probability portion of the swing. Once in a while you can get it. Well, sometimes what if on the bonds a few days ago, back on the 26th, what if they had closed at 134.07, and we're looking for them to close above 133.26 or 133.27? Well, that's still a good close, and that would mean that I could potentially take advantage of that and make a better gain. That's all, and that happens sometimes. But I'm really comfortable with making less money, but in return for that, having more certainty. That's a big, big feature. That's not something I just say. That's something I actually do. And it really means a lot to me. I've given it out a million times on the radio program, and I hope it means something to somebody else, because it made a big difference for me. So the closes simply help me put the probabilities in my favor. That's one of the things that I'm looking at for that.
And that should be the core of everyone's trading system or methodology. However it is that you do this, you should be looking for high probability trade setups, because you can point the mouse and click at anything that moves, but that typically does not end well. You might say, well, I got a 50% chance of being right. Well, we'll see. Funny how that can get skewed the wrong way again and again. So I agree with David in that the closes for us, you see it with me all the time on the hourly chart, guys, where we'll spike above a weekly trading zone, but then we'll close back below that zone. And that's very important, okay? If price runs, in fact, it's a great tell. If price runs up above a zone during the hour and then closes back below it, we're very quick to take action on that, because the way we look at the markets, that has revealed something important. Number one, the weekly zone or a support and resistance level, that's important for its own reasons. But the fact that during the hour price ran above it but couldn't stay above it, there was not enough buyer support in the case of a long position to hold it up there. When that clock ticks over, now here's an interesting dynamic. David, in many cases, is using a day session chart. His candles begin and close on the half hour, whereas mine on the Globex chart close on the hour, but yet we're both able to take the information that we need out of those closes to put together the trades that you see David put out and that you see us put out. Now, on a day session chart, that's a little bit different when you're looking at a daily candle, but for hourly candles, if you'll watch the closes, I believe, see, that question came from Ed, I think you'll start to see some real value in that. It's not something I had thought of so much until I met David a number of years ago, and I heard him talk about it over and over. And this is what I do, guys. When something new comes across my desk in regards to trading or life, I've learned not to just subscribe to that. Okay, and by subscribe to it, I mean to just make it a part of my vocabulary, the way I live, the way I trade. I like to vet everything. Okay, I want to look at it from all different angles, turn it upside down, shake it, back away from it, come back to it. And if it is a truth, whether it's a trading truth or a truth about life, it will stand the test of time. It will bear the light of day. And then I am ready to integrate it into either my trading or the way I live my life. And I have great confidence in it because it has passed the test, so to speak. And if somebody asked me, why do you do that? It's not, well, because he said it was a good thing to do. Well, it's because I know that it's the right thing to do. And so for me, it has become the right thing to do. So David, thanks to you for pointing that out. I have been able to use that and integrate it into my trading to a great degree, you know.
Yeah, no, that's good, and this is a tool that, or an approach that you get comfortable with after a while, like everything else, and after a while, it really takes a life of its own on, and before you know it, it can be very useful. I'm glad you feel that way about it, because it has been very useful to me. When you start with the markets, it's just a bunch of stuff in front of you, and over time, you take out the bits and pieces that really work for you. And again, remember that we're all simply trying to find the high probability setup. We're not trying to say that we need to make 20 trades, 50 trades in a period of time. We'll take 20 or 50. We'd love to take 20 or 50 if they have those high probability conditions. And one of those conditions is based upon the close. And thank you for saying that, Dwayne, and I appreciate that. And the other thing is I was going to mention to Ed is that the close, on the other hand, does not have anything to do with reflected wave. A reflected wave is a timing methodology, but having said that, once a reflected wave top or bottom is put in, there are critical price levels that are involved at turning points. We have a saying that important turns occur at important prices, and if the market is unable to close above those important prices, that's an additional help or tell that the market is going to confirm the reflected wave. But reflected wave unto itself isn't relying on that. It's a timing methodology that doesn't review that. But I like to put as many things together in a trade, get as many things going as we can. You don't want to go, there are people who take that too far and they get too much going and they can't ever make a trade because they have too many things. I need this to be this, I need this. I've got 14 lights that have to all be green. And I think there was a system, Dwayne, on TV for a while where it was the red light, green light system. And that very appealing idea, for the average person, right? Boy, I just, red light turns on, and you don't trade, the green light turns on, and you do trade. Well, that guy's in jail, so no.
I'm trying to remember that guy. The guy had a funny name, like Wilbur or something like that. But anyway,
I don't remember.
That thing, took a lot of heat, and as it should. I mean, well, I don't know that it should, but be careful, guys. Before you spend your money, I mean, just be careful. I don't think that thing cost an incredible amount of money, but so
it was around $3,000.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's significant. Sure.
Is what?
I said that is significant. Absolutely.
Yeah. But in the end, you know, one of the things that I found out, and I think many other people have, is that you can buy a lot of systems. I've certainly been to courses, and went over the many years I've been doing this, almost 24 now, and I have learned that you can learn from anything, even worthless things have something to teach you.
Yep.
And strangely enough, they teach you what doesn't work, which is just as powerful in many ways as what does work.
It really is. It really is. Yeah.
So you got your money's worth. You got your money's worth if you can really understand what it is they're saying and see that it doesn't work. You can really turn lemons into lemonade with
You don't ever have to go down that blind alley again.
You don't have to go down the blind alley, and you may be able to use what doesn't work as a principle in your trading and what doesn't normally happen as a tool to, you know,
point you to what does. Yeah.
Point you to what does. So that's why, and that became an insight as well over the years, because I had been, just like most of us, we all early on, you know, bought a lot of different things. I spent an awful lot of money on systems. I spent, you know, I won't go through it all. It's a sad tale, but I went through a lot of different things. And again, over time, upon retrospect, I really started realizing, wow, there is some real value. Because listen, the guy that put that method out, let's just say that he put it out with the very best intentions, and that he didn't mean, he wasn't just, you know, trying to scam people. Let's just put it out that way. Let's say he wasn't, even though there's plenty of people who would. Let's say he wasn't. So he believed in what he was doing. You got it, and it didn't work for you the way that he thought it would work, or maybe the markets have changed. But in studying that system, in realizing, wow, this doesn't work, have you ever gone back and said, there's something to that because it doesn't work real consistently? And that consistency is what you're looking for. You can learn something from that thing that doesn't work consistently. It's consistently not working. I can learn something from that. You can learn something from that. So that's basically what I have found, is that, you know, you don't fret over systems that you bought that didn't work, because there's probably something in there, unless the system was take a dart and throw it, you know, on the wall. That system you won't be able to learn much from. So be that as may. Anyway.
Now, just so that nobody feels bad over any money that they ever spent chasing something, this guy I know, he says that I became the Indiana Jones of E-mini futures trading. Deep down inside, I knew it existed. That holy grail indicator was going to be mine no matter what the cost. I Googled till my fingers bled. I bought so many systems and indicators and goofy things that cluck like chickens, I no longer needed to actually pull out my credit card. Those 16 digits were permanently tattooed on my frontal lobe. I justified it all as R&D. When I finally stumbled out of the laboratory, some grueling months later, I was beaten, broken, and clinically depressed. So anyway, that's just one man's story. So if you've, you know, because a couple people typed in, oop, I bought that. Hey, don't feel bad. We've all bought stuff, and it's all part of the learning experience. So don't beat yourself up. Use it, as David said, to turn lemons into lemonade. And there was another question here, and this is an interesting thing, and so let me handle it delicately. For FYI, I've heard that traders like Linda Raschke, etc., like to manipulate the closes of price bars to throw traders off. Not sure how effective they are, but I believe they can manipulate traders' decisions based on how it closes. And David, I'll let you answer this, but let me just say that there's no trader, Linda, or any institution or fund that has the ability, in my opinion, to move the price of the S&P 500. Go ahead, caller.
That's been my position as well. I don't know what she's referring to that she herself can manipulate the close. so as to change people's thoughts about the markets and then somehow take advantage of that. But if that's working for her, I mean, good for her. I'm not sure that I know.
It's not working. What this person is saying is that they've heard that people like Linda have the ability to manipulate the close of a candle.
Oh, well, yeah, let me clarify.
Yeah,
let me clarify you. That's just a bunch of nonsense. Linda's
I said
not
be
doing
gentle.
that.
Be gentle.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of nonsense. So don't even worry about thinking about that. It's just like everything else you ever learned in junior high school. Most of what comes out of people's mouths isn't worth listening to or considering. And it's ever so much more so true in the markets. It takes a lot of time and skill to be able to say something meaningful and really useful about markets. It really does. And it, just like in any field, it takes a lot of time to really do it. And that is just complete nonsense. It has no reality to it at all. So don't feel bad that I'm criticizing the listener as being less than human for having suggested it or whatever, but I'm just addressing the content of it and telling you that there's nothing like that going on, and I know that for a fact. I know traders that trade 10 to 20,000 contracts per day. I've seen them put on 15,000 contracts at a whack all at one time, and it made no difference to the market. The market did, it just was ticking along just like it did. So I know for a fact that people are not manipulating the close and so on. So we won't have to hammer it. Just a lot of nonsense out there.
It becomes a function of math, because if you look at it, we can't do it now because the markets are closed, but at any given time, there will be, like on the bid side, there might be, during an active day session, there's 500 contracts on the bid. Okay? That's not an unusual number to see on the bid. In fact, often you'll see 1,000 or 2,000. And so what that means is that someone would have to buy or sell 500 contracts to move price one tick. And you don't know that there aren't an untold number of contracts waiting in the wings that aren't being shown on the DOM. And so it just becomes numerically impossible for someone to, now with penny stocks, do people manipulate penny stocks and push them around like, little kids on a playground? Yes, and that is doable. But in something as big as the indices, and it's not just the S&P, but even the Dow, the Russell, the NASDAQ, if somebody tells you that somebody has the ability to move price around and manipulate the close of a candle, you probably just want to not listen to that, because it's not reality.
Another good example of that is, imagine what $80 billion in cash buying bonds would do to the bond market if you suddenly bought $80 billion worth of bonds. You'd think you'd do pretty good for the market, right? Well, take a look at the bond market.
Well, let's take a look. Let's see what $80 billion has done.
We're down from just in a month and a half, and in that month and a half they put $80 billion in. They do it every month. We're down from 149 down to a swing low of 133. So that is a 16-handle decline on the monthly chart, and $80 billion was put in there at some point all at once to try to keep the market up. The market isn't linear in its response to inputs. This is something that very few people understand unless it's told to them, which is that if you saw the market go up when the government initially started putting $80 billion a month in, you might think that that's going to be the way it always is. As soon as you buy $80 billion, you're the big elephant in the room and the market goes up. But the market, like your muscles and like your immune system and like people in general, adjusts to its inputs. And over time, that $80 billion has less and less effect on the actual movement of the market. Why and how? Probably is going to be difficult to explain, but it does in fact adjust to it, to the point where we are now, and I've suggested this in previous months, that the market will grow weary of that $80 billion, and it'll act like it means nothing to it after a while. And that's what's happened. So it's not linear. You can't just say every time you do this, the market does that. Because the market literally adjusts to what is happening to it, just like your muscles do when you work out with weights, just like your immune system does when it's challenged. It adjusts to its inputs. The market is as big as life, and it does those things. So bond market's a good example of that because we have a known date and time that this money's being fed into it, and it's been going down real strong. So
okay, and just one more thing. Let me just respond because the comment became, well, it wasn't my belief actually, just something I heard recently, and
that's fine.
And it would have to be very short-term minute bars. No, I think you might have missed the whole point. It's impossible to move the price of the indices for even 1 minute because it takes just as much money to move it for 1 minute as it does to move it in any time frame because you're moving it from X to Z. So yeah. Just don't even spend any time on that because
I would let that one go. Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
All right.
Let that one go. It's a much bigger subject than it sounds like, and it isn't linear. It just doesn't really work that way. But the fact is the market does go up, it does go down, but it does it with different reasons every time and different responses to inputs. It's much more involved than just that.
Here's another question for you on currencies. Do you use the London close as the most important closing price or the U.S. session?
That's a good question. If I'm using the longer term charts, the London close, which is where they will post it because that just happens naturally. But the shorter term charts, as I've always said since day one on this program, I use the pit session close for currencies like the euro, the one I'm actually about to talk about. So the longer term charts automatically go to the euro or the London close. Now, it doesn't really in a way matter. You don't have to do it my way. You can adjust your methodology to the other way. Dwayne uses the hour-to-hour bars on Globex and can work with that. I use the pit session. So it's really more of a matter of how you adjust. It's not as if the information the market is giving out is only good this one way. The market's giving information out all the time under all kinds of ways of viewing it. So it's just a matter of what it really is a matter of what you get used to viewing and how you end up utilizing information. The market has information to give all of us. It can be seen in a million different ways. I happen to see it and line it up a certain way, and I've learned how to utilize that. And you can do the same, doing it on the hour, on the London close, or on the daily close, or not even using closes. Sometimes that's just something that is a matter of personal preference. You may have enough indications on your own otherwise. So I want to remind people, I think it's very important to remember, the market has information on every level. There's no one right way to get that information. There's just a matter of whether or not it means something to you and you can put a high probability trade together with it. So keep that in mind. Okay, so we'll move on. Dwayne, if you want, we'll go over to the euro. Very happy in the euro this week because we mentioned on the program last week that if the market, the euro, which has been in a really good decline, and the dollar in advance, if the euro was able to get below 130.07, or excuse me, 130.77, if it could get below that or a little lower, that it would decline into the week of July 1st down to 129.40. This is something that we've put out in our institutional meeting, printed stuff, and in the meetings itself, and it's all due on the week of July 1st. Here we are on the week of July 1st, and they went down to 129.27, so they certainly completed the 129.40, and although I can't tell you what is next for this because this is something that we're currently watching in the institutional stuff, and this is for subscribers, and I hope you can appreciate that. There is a very important thing getting ready to occur in this market, we believe, and the dollar as well. So keep that in mind. But the completion of a number like this on the downside is something that we use. Again, the market is pure information. It's pure energy, pure information. Take your pick of where you want to get that information, how it works for you, what it means to you. For me, the things that we talk about on the program here mean a lot to me. I've learned to perceive it that way and use it that way. Other people will receive that same pure information. They'll take their little bits and pieces out of it. I don't think anybody can take all the information out of it, because it's pure information constantly being streamed at you. And we do, by necessity, have to figure out what part makes sense to us. And so don't worry about, well, I'm looking at the London close and you're looking at this close. It's pure information. It has value. If it has value to you, put it to work. The principle was the close itself, not necessarily which close. So don't worry yourself over that. And then let's see, we'll move on past the euro. A couple other markets we've been talking about, one of which...
David, Don says you skipped the bonds. I thought you covered the bonds.
Well, I did skip the forecast that we had, and I mean, if you want, I'll go over it real quick. It was
that's all right.
It was that on the 26th we had forecast the bonds would advance up to 136.06. They did it. We forecast it would be touched on July 2nd. It did, and then that would normally be a top. The top came one day late today. They advanced up to 136.27, then reversed, and this is normally going to send prices lower now, because we've completed that sequence, so to speak. The crude oil market. Now, come on, how long have I been telling you on the program that since the April bottom, which was now several months ago, I've been saying the market is going to go up first to 103. Well, the April bottom was at 85.61, so 103 is a whole lot higher. Today, the crude oil market got to 102.18. and is going to continue higher, even with the usual pullbacks and whatnot. 103 is important for a number of reasons, and one of those reasons is that the number itself has importance. I've talked about this before, but that's not a leading indicator for us when the number is important just by itself. It's a backdrop to other things that we look at. But in this case, the market should be able to hit 103 and higher. I've been telling you that gasoline prices and whatnot are going to be higher. The last forecast for a reflected wave bottom was on June 24th, and on that day on the program, I mentioned that this low has the possibility of being a low that will end up breaking out so that the monthly completes itself and completes these 103 and so on. That's exactly what ultimately happened. We didn't know for sure that's what's going to happen, but we certainly wanted to buy the June 24th bottom, and Bert has some customers of ours who trade with him who indeed bought that low and did tremendously well, and I just got a text from Bert the other day, on the advance off of the June 24th reflected wave daily bottom, which advanced in favor of this monthly move up. And you can see, if you take a look at the daily chart, how nice of a, it's a beautiful move.
That's parabolic. I mean, that thing's...
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's really running, and it's going to, we believe, with the usual pullbacks, it's going to go higher. And we're almost, we came within, 70 ticks or whatever today of 72 ticks of getting the 103. I think it's going to take out 103 and go higher. And all of you will be driving electric cars. And then I'll be able to say things like, see, I told you you'd be driving these things. By the way, I just want to mention real quick that I've been driving the Chevy Spark EV, small little cute little thing. I don't look like an investor driving an investor kind of car when I'm in that car, but I sure do enjoy what's that, Johnny? Oh, I sure do enjoy people, their expressions on their faces when I scoot away from them at speeds well in excess of the posted limit in their BMW, by the way. So now I'm not dangerous on the road. I drive very normally. In fact, I try to drive very efficiently. But if I do get to a light and somebody, I don't know how they could size me up in a car that looks like the Chevy Spark. I don't know who would even race one. But if they start off zipping off the line, I zip up, and this thing really is just astounding how hard it pulls. Pure electric, scoots you down the road real quiet, and it's just a lot of fun. So I now have the Chevy Volt, and I have the Chevy Spark, which is sort of its little brother. The Chevy Spark is its pure battery. There's no backup generator. You can get over 100 miles of range. I've already done it. You can get over 100 miles of actual driving range on this car. If you're doing more than 100 a day, gosh, that's a lot of driving. But most people in a city don't need to, and that's why this little Spark can take you away from the gas pump and leave you there. One thing I will say, though, it is basically a very small economy car. It does have some nice features in it, but it's not the super luxury car like the Chevy Volt is, if you even consider that super luxury. But I've enjoyed these two cars already. I'm a car person. I've owned a lot of different kinds of cars, and I've really enjoyed these two electric cars, and it's just turned me back on to cars. I went for quite some time in kind of a dry spell there. So anyway, just letting those of you who would be interested know. I know once you get me talking. Let's see, a few other things on the markets that we wanted to talk about today. Somebody asked me a question about the Aussie dollar, because we had a forecast back on the 28th of June that the Aussie dollar should advance. From the 28th of June, it should go up. Its cycle would turn up, and it would hit 92.08 or 92.10 on July 2nd. It actually made an attempt at that level on July 1st. It got up to 92.03. Not a bad trade for somebody that might have taken that. We didn't actually give it out as a trade. We just gave it out as a forecast. But isn't it interesting that, and this is what we talk about, the fact that they could not reach the 10 level, the 92.10, meant that there was hidden selling pressure, and it's not so hidden. The market's been going down, and the market has sold off from that point very nicely, and now is back below where it was on June 28th when we gave out that. So this is another example of how the market not being able to reach a particular level can be inferred to mean there's hidden selling pressure or hidden buying pressure. I utilize that as a backdrop to whether or not we want to trade larger or smaller at certain times, because usually the numbers get hit, but when they don't, you can take advantage of that and step up a little bit if you are of a mind to do so. So this market continues lower. This Aussie dollar has been a wipeout. Dwayne is the one that first mentioned this, by the way, that George Soros or some other big traders were shorting this market, and that actually is one reason that I have not done any long trading in this market, because you can call it superstitious or whatever you want, but these guys get involved, these big players get involved in the markets. They know something we don't know. They have something we don't have, perhaps. And I'm not going to second guess that. And indeed, the market has really taken a big, big dive since that point. It's been a big, big directional move on the downside and continues to be. So if anything, you'd be wanting to short that, not go long. So, okay, then let's move over. I have a little bit of news on Tesla, the electric car company. They made a new all-time high today at $121.89. The stock is up hundreds and hundreds of percent now over the last just couple of months. And the last important indication we gave out on the program was to, on the June 24th bottom, this was a reflected wave bottom 2, sell put premium for a multi-day advance, and that's the advance that took the market up all the way to the all-time new high. The on-time date for the top, for those of you that have reflected wave, you know it was July 2nd. So it was a run from June 24th on time to a on-time top on July 2nd, and today they've been down a little bit, and we expect a multi-day movement down in that. Just a couple more markets, and then we'll be off to barbecue, which is just what happens here in Vegas when you go outside. You immediately begin barbecuing. The U.S. dollar, we had talked about on the program, and I'm sorry if I think I mentioned this on the program, that they should continue up to 83.70 in spite of whatever they did. They got up to 83.93. That's an important level on the upside. It's very likely that we're going to see a reversal in the dollar and an advance in the euro coming into next week, very likely. So that's what we're planning on trading. That's one of the trades that we're, in our institutional stuff, we're going to be looking at trading. Couple last things. The copper market, I know most of us don't even think about copper, and it is a it's not real tradable. It's not the best tradable market because it is tricky, but we've been forecasting a May bottom, and that bottom came 1 month late in June. And so that means to us that we're going to have a multi-month advance. So I like the idea, at the very least, of going and potentially selling puts on copper. So watch copper over, just take this month, take the month of June, last month, and say that's the bottom, and watch what copper does here. We think we're going to see a multi-month advance, and it's already beginning to be underway here. And one last thing that we had called in our institutional meeting, not with the program here, was for the soybeans to advance from 1235 up to 1254 into July 5th. Today is July 3rd. The 4th is a holiday. Today they got up to 1259. So that's the trade that we put out, but we didn't actually get in it. We don't get in all the trades that we put out, or all the ideas for trades that we put out. So, and that's another thing that you'll learn over time if you're new to markets. It's a lot easier to call them than it is to trade them sometimes. Not all the time, but in most cases, trading them is its own separate, in all cases, trading it is its own separate skill that you have to develop. And so a person says, well, gosh, if you knew the market was going to go from here to here, you could make money. Yes, you could, but you better know how to trade, because it isn't. There's a lot of other things that come into play, and those other things have to do what's between your ears, your emotions, your feelings, your ability to re-enter a position. There's all these other factors in the reality of trading that come in that makes trading what might look like an easy money. Sometimes you think, well, I'm going to have to practice this a little bit to get better at trading. And that's what it is. And don't be afraid. Don't be looking, I'll tell you something. The people that wake up looking for the easy money never find it. The people that wake up willing to pay their way find it. That's just how it is. I mean, I don't mean pay your way meaning pay me or pay Dwayne. I mean pay your way. Well, whatever that payment means. Work, study, hard knocks, all that stuff. If you get up with the idea that I'm not going to try to get around that. I'm going to try to pay my way. You'll find that you go a lot further than the guy that's always working at not paying his way. And, remember in junior high school, the guy that could never just do that. He always had to twist, he had to do the cheat. He always had to do this or that. And it never really worked out that well, but he was just loving being so clever. Wake up and just be willing to pay your way, and you'll find that you can get there. The miracle is that if you're willing to pay your way, you can get there. You actually can. You have to pay one way or the other for everything. It's not just the markets. You want to get ahead in something else, you have to pay your way with work, with understanding, with insight, with being knocked back and having to get back on your feet. All that is part of the payment. If you just get up in the morning and say, I'm going to pay my way to whatever my goal is, if you're willing to do that, you'll get there. I would bet on your horse long, long before I bet on somebody else who's trying to do it any other way. So, I mean, just let that idea sink in. It's not a stupid, false truism or a feel-good thing. It really has worked well for me. Just be willing to pay your way. Don't try to get around it. Just go pay your way, and you'll find that you can actually get there that way. I spent an awful lot of my life doing it the other way, trying to figure out a way to the shortcut and everything else, and it hadn't worked for me.
Something I want to add to that is, because what you said about you got to be willing to pay your ways, pay your dues, whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, this is true. However, just because you pay somebody some money, just because you write a check out to some company or whatever for indicators or education or whatever else, and I see this played out again and again, and I always I caution them coming in the door, and I tell them the same thing on the way back out, that even though you may have found somebody who has a totally legitimate way of trading the markets, it's based on sound fact, and everything is good, and so you pay the money. That does not instantly translate into you being a trader and you being able to just cash checks every month and having money deposited in your bank account. You've got to take that education that person gives you, or that system that they teach you. You've now got to go to work. You've got to learn it. You've got to put it into practice. There's no easy money, and sometimes people think, well, the more money I spend for the system, then the the less amount of work I'll have to do, and it'll. David, tell them it's not true. They hear it from me.
Well, it isn't true, and I'm really talking more about, and I agree with you, I'm really talking, of course, the attitude, the overall feeling that in life that, if you're willing to
roll up your sleeves and go to work.
Roll up your sleeves and go to work, yeah. Then that I will bet on that horse over a guy that's trying to get it the other way. That's what I'm really saying.
Yep, I agree.
The pay thing, it has the connotation of money and so on and all that in there. But it's just that it's human nature to want to try to get it this way or the easiest way and whatever. And sometimes it's a good thing to do. But I'm really talking about the overall attitude that, hey, I'm doing this. I'm going to take this all the way through. I'm going to do what I have to do to understand this, do the work, learn where I can learn, and so on, rather than chasing the shortcut. It really is kind of a open secret that if you just do the work and roll your sleeves up, you can actually accomplish things without having to go be slick or tricky about it. And that's all. And I think a lot of people realize that, but I think a lot of people don't.
Yep.
So I'm only saying it for those that might be helpful to. So there you are.
Because I have people that come in all the time, and they'll take a look at what we're doing, and they'll sit in on the trade room, they'll have the indicators, and they'll go, oh, wow, and this is great. Let me just write you a check because I'm ready to start cashing these massive checks every month. And I'm like, whoa, stop. No. It's not that easy. Well, yeah, of course it is. I was in the live trading room. I saw you use your indicators. I saw what that guy did, and now I'm just going to do the same thing. Okay, do you understand that you can't just come out of the box doing what you saw that guy do, that you have to actually learn? You got to be able to spot the setup, and you got to be able to execute and deal with your emotions and manage the trade and all. Well, no, I don't want to do any of that. I'm just going to do what that guy did. Okay, but and for the life of me, I go, well, no, stop, slow down. That's not how it works. It's kind of like, you go to see the doctor and you go, well, that looks like a nice job. I think I'll just be a doctor. You can't just be a doctor, okay? I mean, you gotta cut up a couple of cadavers before you can be a doctor. So, anyway.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's
guys. And people go, well, I'm not looking for a free lunch. I just wrote you a check that had a comma in it. I understand, but that's what you did was you paid for the right to roll up your sleeves and go to work. That's what?
Yeah.
I'm buying a job? Yeah, that's kind of what it amounts to. Oh, well, I'm looking for some easy money. Well, there is no easy money. There's no free money. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't mean to rain on anybody's parade, but yeah, I do. If it wakes you up to the reality before you lose a lot of your hard-earned money, then please let me just rain all over your parade, because I don't want you to lose a lot of money. I want you to go into this thing. If you're new to trading, I want you to come in with eyes wide open, because I didn't come into it eyes wide open. And despite some people who really did try to warn me and caution me and enlighten me, I was too bullheaded and too full of myself, and I had money in my pocket, and seriously, nobody could tell me anything. I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, and that sometimes is it. That's just the way it goes. We'll see. Everybody has their own path to this. Nature doesn't duplicate a path. That's from Vernon Howard, one of my favorite teachers. Nature doesn't duplicate the path. Everybody has their own way of getting to something, but there are some cardinal rules on the way there. Even though the path isn't duplicated, there's some principles and things and all that. So, well, listen, Dwayne, I am going to move on from here where you've got the holiday weekend here. I'm going to get on my horse. I'm going to go barbecue out in the sun here. I'd like to wish everybody a really wonderful weekend, 4-day weekend here with your family, and we'll be back here on Monday. And I
thought you're gonna come back Friday, aren't you?
I'm going to be back on Friday, but our business will be closed until Monday. But yeah, I would love to be on the program on Friday, and we'll see you guys then. Have a wonderful 4th of July. Thanks, Dwayne, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Bye-bye.
I didn't notice what time it was. All I know is that I fell in love with you. And if all my dreams come true, I'll be
Okay, guys, that's going to just about wrap it up for me. If you have the markets are closed, so typically right now on the after show, as it's come to be called, we would, in fact, go over some setups, look at what trades we might be putting on the Globex session. But since the markets are closed, we're not going to do that. I will answer any questions that you have. You got busy and forgot to call me yesterday. Don, are you talking to me, or were you sending that message to David? Gary, you just typed in zones for Dow. Oh, will I tell you what they are? Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, Ken says, I just got here and you guys are leaving. Yeah, Ken, I did record, I record the audio podcast every day. I've been doing that for 8 years. And over the last couple months, I've started to record the video as well. I will do my best to get caught up on uploading both the podcast and the vodcasts over the holiday. I can't promise you today's show will be uploaded today. It might be, but if you go to our blog, okay, just go to our website, CFRN.net, and then click Emini Radio Blog up at the top on the navigation panel. In fact, if you're logged in, I guess I can just show you. Just go here, CFRN.net. Then when this page loads, over here, see Emini Radio Blog, click that. That will take you to, it's like a table of contents, okay? But just click View Recent Posts. And that will take you to, this is the most recent episode I've uploaded right here. And then there's, that would be June 24th, June 25th, June 26th. So I'm a little bit behind. Now, if you want to see the video portion, go to youtube.com. Let me show you. youtube.com/CFRN. This is where you can see the radio program, both audio and video. Go to recent uploads, and there you go. Now, we have another YouTube channel as well, and that one is where you'll find all of the daily recaps, E-mini futures trading, right there. Okay. Now, the recaps are available from our website. And let me show you on our website where those are. Go back to CFRN.net. On the right-hand side of every web page, it says right there, Live Trading Room Results. Click that. That will take you to this page where it talks about, and you know what, I'm going to share this because this was a topic of discussion with someone the other day who is grading, for lack of a better term, or sharing his opinion of various trading rooms. We stand by what we say right here. Often you will see websites display performance results which are sketchy at best. We've refrained from publishing ours in the past because we simply felt that anyone truly interested in what we have to offer would be better served by dropping in and seeing it happen in real time. We still believe that. So we encourage you to drop in for a 5-day free trial. That statement was made and published a couple years ago. Since then, we have been keeping a very meticulous record. The results that you'll find here were traded in real time in a live trading room in front of a minimum of 20 real people. So this really does go back a couple years because now it's in front of, you know, usually, well, I won't get into the numbers, but it's more people now. The results are not cherry-picked to impress you. You'll see trades get stopped out, trades break even, trades behave. What you won't see are mistakes swept under the carpet, smoke blown up your chimney, or anything that is not absolutely factual. Because our indicator set and methodology are incredibly robust, you will see trades highlighted that we simply couldn't trade because we were managing a different trade in a different market. Point totals that you see in these recaps include only the trades that were actually taken in front of a live audience. Remember, past performance is no indication of future results. However, it should be noted that these are real trades in real time in front of a live audience. No matter how impressed you are by what you see on this webpage, don't take our word for it. Come take the 5-day free trial and see for yourself. And the track record goes back to August of 2011. Now, the reason I left this information on the page is because, guys, it's so easy to skew data. I could throw up charts and pie graphs that would just make your head spin, okay? And you'd have no way of knowing if that was factual or not. You'd just have to trust me, okay? And even if I was telling you the truth, how's that going to affect what happens tomorrow? Well, answer is it's not. See, that part about past performance is no indication of future results. Not only is that a guideline suggested by the government that you should put that on your website, but as a person with integrity, I want you to understand that not only on my site, but on other sites that you go to, every day is unique in the market. As Mark Douglas writes in the book, Trading in the Zone, the 2 books that I recommend to traders, you know that's one of them, Mark says that every moment in the market is unique and is a standalone moment. Well, that's so true. And so when somebody shoves a bunch of data at you and says, oh, look, we've back tested this thing, to the year, 1902, and it stands the test of time. Okay, that's awesome. But it doesn't tell you anything about what's going to happen tomorrow. That's why we want you to be able to see our results. That's why we painstakingly have recorded about 20 minutes of video every day walking through every trade. And since February, we've been recording the entire live trading room. So for our partners who come on board and want to get up to speed quickly, yes, they can be in the live trading room today for 2 hours, but they can also see what happened in the trading room in February every single day, and March and April. That's pretty good. I mean, after the live trading room, you could set through, if you want to work an 8-hour day, you could set through another 3 live trading rooms or 4. And because you can fast forward, you get to see the trade setups play out a lot quicker. Okay? So what I'm saying is we go out of our way to be incredibly transparent. Now, there's give and take there. Because of that, because these are actual results, we may not look like the best traders on the internet. We don't claim to be. We don't try to be. We don't even go there, all right? We just work hard, do the very best job that we can, and if you become a student, we don't make you any fake promises, any phony baloney come-ons. We just simply state that for the next 90 days, we'll do everything that we can to teach you everything we know about trading E-mini futures. As an example, we can teach you how to play baseball, but we can't make you a baseball player. We can teach you how to trade futures, but we can't make you a futures trader. Lord knows we'll try. We'll do everything that we can. A question here in the chat box that just came in on the website. Let me see what it says. Are you on every trading day? Yes, Ron, we are. Okay. All right. So anyway, somehow I got onto the results page. Go check it out. Have a good time. If you have any questions, there's a graph down here of what the results look like. We teach all setups in a teaching environment. We trade all setups in a teaching environment. Although we do trade real money in live markets, our goal during the first 2 hours each day is not monetary gain, but to teach you how to recognize our setups and execute the trades. Because we are working with both brand new traders and seasoned veterans, many who walk with a limp, we employ extremely aggressive risk management, as you will see in the videos. Once our partners learn both the premise of the trade and the setup criteria through relentless repetition, they are then able to use a more natural risk management that suits both their account size and personality. Many days we could be finished in the first 30 minutes, but our commitment is to teach each new partner for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for 3 months. In our own personal trading, we prefer to stop trading once our daily goals are met. Hang on, I got to type in another message here. Okay. All right, where did I leave off? We've all heard the statistic, 90% of traders fail. And I've heard it 95. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's not good. I know that. And it has to do with unrealistic expectations. That's the biggest problem. People have unrealistic expectations. Our use of extremely aggressive risk management has one goal, keeping you in business long enough. And that's what you're doing when you choose to become a trader. You're opening a business, just like the guy that goes and gets a Subway franchise or an oil and lube or whatever it might be. You know, you're starting a business. Our goal is to keep you in business long enough so that you actually learn how to trade. If you shattered every trade we made in the videos above, you might not be rich yet, but you'd still be a trader because you wouldn't have blown up your account. Take the 5-day free trial. Be patient with yourself. You might do better. You might do worse. Our methods do get results, and if you're willing to work hard over time, so can you. But again, past performance does not guarantee future results. Trading is risky, and you can lose all of your money. And if you believe nothing else, believe that. Because it's true. All right? Okay. So, some question that somebody asked me got me off on this whole thing. Let me go back to the trading room and see. Oh, Jerry, the password for the open house is independence. It was the password today, and it'll be the password Friday. Guys, I'm sorry I didn't put it in the email, but when you go to that registration screen, it says it right there at the top. It's one of those things that's in such plain view that you actually miss it. So I apologize for that. Okay, Pete, take care. Have a happy 4th. People saying goodbye. So, Don, was it me that you wanted? You wanted me to call you about the computer specs. Oh, okay. For those of you that don't know, we have a line of trading computers. If you Google Emini trading computer, it'll take you to the web page. And Don, I will call you. I'll be happy to, and I apologize that I didn't call you if I had promised to call you, which obviously I did. I get so busy, but that's no excuse. There's never an excuse to be rude. Ask my mom. She'll tell you. And I agree with her. Gary, you asked about zones for the Dow. I'll get you those here in just a second. In fact, no, let me just do that right now. And guys, any final questions you have, go ahead, type them in. I'll be happy to answer them, be able to cover them for you. For those of you that got in on the final tweet of the week, we had just another great week for the tweets. Little something on that long yesterday afternoon. Nice trade on the downside last night. 4 points from the trigger at 98 to the obstacle at 94. Beautiful. And then I cautioned everybody. I said, hey, consider getting out of this thing. And look what happened. This isn't me prophesying the future. Not at all. I said it earlier. Let me say it again. It's not voodoo or black magic. Over here, when price got down, on this day, when price got down to 15.94 and a quarter, that was a great price. How do I know it was a great price? Because buyers rushed in and ran it up. What happened the next time price got to 15.94 and a half? Buyers rushed in and ran it up. What happened when price got to 15.93 and a quarter? Buyers rushed in and ran it up. So why would I not expect them to come rushing in at 15.93/94 last night? Because I'm in a trade? Because I'm short? And so the market should just go my way? No. See, this is what we talk when we say we're looking for high probability setups. If price comes through 98, all right, why 98? I'll go into that on Friday with you, but there's a reason. There's a reason I chose 98. I could have chosen 99. Let me just tell you now, because I don't like for things to be shrouded in mystery. We're all about demystifying the market. We have a weekly trading zone right here at 1601/02. I want to get 2 points away from the zone before I enter a trade because I want to know that the market means business. So my entry typically, like just for myself, if I was sitting here trading, my entry would have been 99. But because I'm putting it out publicly and you guys are going to be trading it, I like to build a little cushion in there. I like to make that thing as high a possibility as I possibly can. So I just simply added a point. I went from 99 all the way down to 98. Now, does that mean there's only 4 points in the trade as opposed to 5? Yeah. But is there a higher probability? Yeah. Because once this thing is triggered, it's obvious where support is. All you got to do is look left. And look what happened. We published it. I was on the tweeter last night warning people, consider taking your profits. And we turned around and ran up from 1594 all the way back up to this zone. We consolidated for 3 hours here at the 1601, 1602 zone. And then we came within a point of getting to 14, which is another sign of weakness in the market. Remember, on Monday, we couldn't make it to 24.25. Tuesday, we couldn't make it to 24.25. And now today, we weren't able to make it to 14.15. There's weakness in the market. Now, going into the close, based on this green candle, we had some buying into the close. Little unusual for a holiday weekend. People positioning themselves ahead of the employment numbers or the unemployment numbers that will come out on Friday morning. Could the market go higher? Could we take out this high and this high and this high and get up to this zone? Yeah, we could. And could the reverse happen? Could we take out this swing low at 94 and get down to this zone at 87, 88? Yep. Always embrace the possibilities. This is where we get into trouble when not only do we try to predict the future, okay, but then when the future turns out to not be what we predicted, we want to disagree with reality. The market's climbing, but we've got it in our head that the market should be falling. So we're in a position, we're underwater, man, we're bleeding, and we won't let go. Because we're bound and determined to prove that we were right and the market was wrong. I am so quick to acquiesce to the markets now. I wasn't early on. Oh, no. I was as stubborn as it came. I truly believe that I could hope and pray and wail my way out of a bad trade. I never once prayed and hoped and wailed my way out of a bad trade. It only got worse. Now, I take that back. There's a couple times the market came back, made me whole, and that was just enough to really damage me. Okay? It's like, oh, man, this hope and pray thing actually works. Now, hope and prayer works in real life, don't get me wrong. But God does not honor that as a trading technique. Okay? He wants you to use your head. He wants you to learn how to be, just like he would want you to be an honorable brick mason who lays brick with integrity, and you're asking, what, is there such a thing? You bet there is. Oh, yeah. You bring integrity into every profession. You know, if you step outside of Christianity to even into Buddhism, the same concept is taught. You do honorable work, right work, okay? I'm not going to start preaching, but some of you that have been around the block more than once, you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? It's a concept, one of the 5 truths or 8 truths, however many there are. It's called right work, okay? See, somebody the other day had the question, somebody in their life, a friend or a family member, was applying a little pressure going, hey, how's that day trading that you do any different than gambling? Well, the difference is, and we talked about it on the show at length, the difference is day trading for us is short-term investing, okay? We're not gambling, we're trading high probability setups. And when it becomes when the odds are suddenly in your favor, that's when it's no longer gambling. See, when you go to the casino to gamble, you're gambling, but the casino's not gambling because the rules are, the deck, so to speak, is stacked in their favor because they wrote the rules, right? And you got to play by their rules. You can't come in and bring your own rules. And as long as you play by their rules over time, over the large enough sample size, as Mark calls it, the casino's always going to come out ahead. That's why they're so happy. That's why they got those big smiles and those luxurious rooms and all the free cocktails you can drink. Because they know as long as Joe keeps showing up from Idaho, they're going to make money. Okay? And every now and then, Joe's going to make a little money to take back to Idaho to tell all his friends, woohoo, I went to Vegas, brought a grand home. Okay, that's how that game works, all right? The beauty of trading is you get to be the casino and not the degenerate gambler. You get to write your own rules. You get to stack the deck in your favor. As a partner, we help you to do that. Here's where the trouble comes in. Once you establish your rules, once you write your business plan and your trading plan, traders have the toughest time following their own rules. They slip their stops, they do this, they get in early, blah, blah. You know, they hesitate. You know all the stuff you do, all the stuff I do, or that I'm susceptible to doing if I'm not on guard, if I'm not on my very best behavior, if I'm not holding myself accountable on each and every trade. I can so easily fall back into that stuff, okay? And I want you to not do that. I want you to stand on solid ground. I want you to wake up every day, not with a knot in your stomach, but confidence, not cockiness, but confidence that you are not gambling, that you are short-term investing, that you have a couple of high probability setups, and that if you follow the rules that you wrote, the odds are in your favor, okay? And the amount of exposure, when you get into a 20-year land deal on real estate, man, a lot can happen in 20 years. Our exposure is often limited to minutes, hours, you know. Sometimes, if it's on a Globex trade overnight, it can, you know, be 6, 7, 8 hours. That's a long-term trade for us. Now, I'm not against longer-term investments. Don't get me wrong. Do I wish I had bought Apple in 2002? You better believe I do, but I didn't. Did I make some other long-term investments? I did. Did most of them come back to haunt me? Nah, well, that's a whole nother story, you know. So I'm still very much a believer in long-term investing. Long-term investing prepares you for retirement. Trading intraday, short-term investing intraday, that pays the bills. That keeps the lights on. That pays the mortgage. Makes the car payment. That's what I'm talking about. So, all right. Who was it? Was it Greg? No, Gary asked me about the Dow. So, Gary, you've waited long enough. You shall wait no more. Let's go see how the weekly trading zones played out for the Dow this week. Let me get a Dow chart going. Okay, this is a daily chart. I'm going to switch it out to an hourly. This is the YM, the Dow E-mini futures. Let's go to an hourly chart. And let me grab my... The weekly trading zones, guys, are areas in the market where we believe that price will pause, coil, consolidate, and make a decision where it's going to go next. Will it proceed to the next rung on the ladder overhead, or will it retreat and return to the rung on the ladder below? You can think of it as a ladder. You can think of it as a football field with a gridiron. You know, they're at the 50, they're at the 40, they're at the 30, that kind of thing. However you do it so that it makes sense to you. Now, let's see where we are right now. We had a zone at 148.70. So let me put that on my chart. 148.70. Now, remember that the S&P weekly trading zones, those give us the highest probability setups. The Dow comes next. And then the other zones that I do for the euro, the Russell, and the pound, I just do those because our partners have asked me to do them. They say that it helps them tremendously, but I personally know that they're not as accurate and as helpful as the ones that I published for the S&P. So in that order, S&P, Dow, and then the other ones I kind of lump together. So, but anyway, they go to the partners every Monday morning via email before the market opens, and then once they're published, they're carved in stone. They don't change for the entire week. So 14,870/75. So let's go back to let's get some day markers on here so this thing starts to make sense. Okay, there's the 2nd. Here's July 1st. Okay. Here's last Friday, the 28th. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to have the Sunday night Globex Open, June 30th, right there. Okay, so this is the Globex Open Sunday night. So this zone does not have any bearing on Friday, because Sunday night is when I compute the zones, and then they go out to the partners Monday morning before the open. So here's what happened. Price broke above the zone at 14,870/75, and here's what it did. Price did this, and then price did this, and then price did that. I know you sometimes get tired of me doing that, but I'm never going to stop doing it, because that's what the market does. And if you'll just watch for that pattern at and around zones, it will make life, I'm not going to say it'll make life simple, but it might make it a little easier. And see, here, after we come back and test the zone, the pattern even starts to repeat again, because it did that, and then it did that, and then it did that. Same thing over and over. And it'll keep doing that until it doesn't, and that means it's heading the other way. And then it'll do that in the other direction until it doesn't, and that means it's headed in the other direction. Now, what was the next zone overhead? Let me find that. 15,000. So let's put 15,000 on our chart. 15,000, 15,005. So upper 15,000. That's too many numbers. 15,005. There we go. Right? Yeah. Okay. And this needs to be down 1. All right. So price went from, it broke above the zone, pulled back. We love that. Pulled back, found support where it should at a weekly zone, made a run, another little pullback, and then off it went up to the weekly zone at 15,000, 1505. That happened around, it's like 9 o'clock Chicago time up through 11 o'clock Chicago time. We were dealing with this upper zone. And so partners who had gotten their zones prior to the market opening, okay, were able to take advantage of this nice move, and they knew that this area, 15,000/15,005, was a good place to consider taking some or all profits. If you took your profits here, look what happened. Price marched straight back to the zone. See there? Let me open it up a little bit for you. The swing low on this candle was 14,872, right inside of the zone. Okay? Price found support. Off it goes again. Now just this little move right here took us up to a swing high at 922. Okay? So from 875 to 922, that's almost 50 points. At $5 a point, that's a $250 move per contract. If you're a 3-contract trader, a 5-contract trader, or a 10-contract trader, you can do the math. All right? So price comes back to the zone, finds support, off it goes again. It actually gets all the way up to 14,947. Okay? So that is about an 80-point move. 80 times 5 is $400 per contract. Multiply that times the number of contracts you trade. But price gets held up here. It can't get any higher. We come back to test the weekly trading zone again at 870/875. Price takes off like a rocket ship here. This time it gets all the way up to 980. But just like the S&P, look what's happening here. Okay, there's Monday's swing high. There's Tuesday's swing high. See what we're starting to get here? Now, unlike the S&P, the Dow actually made it to its zone. The S&P didn't. But on Tuesday, day 2, it failed to get all the way up to the zone. Okay? So as we go left, now as price is starting to break down on this pullback, look, we catch a bounce. We hit the zone at 75. I don't know how far we bounced. I'd have to go to a smaller time frame to see what's involved. But just on the hourly, I can see that the close of this candle was 49.49. Is that right? Let's see, the close. The close, I'm sorry, was 14,890. Okay? So from 75 to 890, if price didn't bounce any further, there was a 15-point bounce right here. Okay? So then price breaks down below this zone. Now, what does price do when it breaks below the zone? Yeah, it does. You're way ahead of me. It does this. And then it does this. Not that. Then it does this. I'm buying new batteries for my mouse, man. This thing's getting me. No, seriously? I'm going to try it one more time. Price did that. Price did that. It pulled back to the zone where it found resistance. Now, you got to look at that. If you haven't been around very long and you're like, wait a minute, that's not even possible. Who's this guy trying to kid? I'm not trying to kid anybody. You can go look at the blog going back years. You can look at all the charts and the pictures. This isn't voodoo, guys. It's not black magic. It's not any kind of arcane science. And it's not something shrouded in mystery that you, as a layman, as a mere mortal, that you can't learn. I can teach you how to read charts. I can teach you how to trade these charts. I can't make you a trader, but I can teach you what I know. That's what becoming a partner is all about. It's up to you. I'm here for you, though. And we give you a 5-day free trial so you can determine if it's right for you. Last thing in the world I want to do is sell you a pig in a poke, something you're going to put on a shelf and never use. That's not good for you. It's not good for me. Okay? Because I want to have what's called right work. Okay? And then price does. Yep, definitely going to get new batteries. Price does that. Remember how price did that? Over here, price did that, and that, and that. And then it did that, and that, and that. Right? And then over here, it did that, and that, and that on a bigger scale. And now, remember when I said once it heads south, it's going to do the same thing. It does that, and that, and that. You can learn this if you apply yourself, if you're willing to roll up your sleeves and work hard like we talked about. Now, let's see what happened next. We had to have had a zone below us. Let me check my sheet and see what the number was. And I'm not just putting numbers up, guys. We've got partners out there that are tuned in live. They would call me on the carpet in a heartbeat if I were to ever put a number up there that wasn't correct. And I hope you know me well enough by now to just know I wouldn't. I have no motivation to do that. It doesn't help me. Okay. Our zone was at 14,735. slash 740. 14,735/14,740. Okay, so price came within the swing low. The swing low was 751. So we came within 11 ticks, or points as they're called in the YM, 11 ticks of hitting the zone. So that tells us there's some bullish tempo in the market. And this little pattern right here, okay, this is the context is perfect for this candlestick pattern. She's carrying the baby low. This is called, somebody in the audience, give me the name, but it's woman with child. Typically, we like to see her carrying the baby higher, okay? This is the woman, this is the baby, and in the proper context, after a down move, this sets the stage for a bullish move to the upside. The higher she carries, well, somebody tell me what it is. Type it in for me. Harami. Thanks so much, Gary. All right. Gary's right. It's Harami. Gary, you get the bell. All right. So price turns here. Buyers step in early. Okay. They recognize a bargain price, I suppose, and they step in and they run it up. They run it up. Now, once we hit this zone at 870, we back off, and it looks like we backed off to 850. So about a 20-point move. Now, we might have backed off further because this is an hourly candle. I'd have to go to a smaller time frame, okay, to be able to see how far this thing pulled down. And you do that on your own chart. Check it out, okay? It's good experience, good work. Now we've broken above the zone. So just based on that same thing we've been talking about, this can't happen today because markets are closed, but price just did that. Price is in the process of doing that. And so on Friday morning, we would not be surprised. Let me give you a possible scenario. The market's open Friday morning. The employment numbers come out. They're good, they're bad, whatever they are. Price pulls back to this area. Finds solid ground and makes a move higher. Okay, let's say that starts to unfold. Price does come back to the zone or the area, because remember, zones are an area. Weekly trading zones are an area. We get very accustomed to seeing price stop, you know, like to the tick, okay? That doesn't, like over here to the tick, that doesn't always happen. It's an area. So let's say price pulls back into the area and then starts to go long, and we use our smaller time frame 4-tick range slingshot to get into the trade. What are our obstacles on the upside? Okay. Now remember, this is going to be Friday, so we won't have new zones to work with until Monday morning. The first obstacle to this trade is going to be right here. If we can get through that area, the next obstacle to the trade is going to be right here. Okay? Right there. Okay? So if price can get through this obstacle and this obstacle, I'm going to have to do this too. I'm going to go from finite to ray. That trend line that we drew off those tops, remember? Monday, Tuesday. Let me put the day marker in for Wednesday. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's starting to look a little crowded. Stay with me. Here, let me get these guys out of the way because we understand the concept. We don't need to see them. So price pulls back, finds support. This is a potential scenario. The first obstacle really will be this descending trend line, and it will depend upon how much time it takes for this to happen. If we drop in one candle off the open and then start to run, there could only be 2 candles here. But let's say we drop and it drags out for a few hours, then we could be climbing over here. It won't matter because the way this is structured, it's going to be within a few points either way. But this downsloping trend line will be obstacle number 1, obstacle number 2, obstacle number 3. Now you might look at that and go, whoa, why would I ever want to be in such a crazy trade with all those obstacles? Well, because every trade, unless you're breaking out into virgin new highs or you're breaking out to new lows that haven't been visited in a long time, there's always going to be obstacles to the trade. Doesn't mean that you can't take the trade because there's obstacles, because the market is constantly overcoming the obstacles it created for itself. Okay? You just want to be aware of them so that you can manage the trade properly. If the trade starts to slow down right here, doesn't mean you have to abandon the trade, but you need to be aware of why it's slowing down, and you need to know at what point is it no longer retracing but is now reversing. That's the key. So if you get long down around the zone here and this thing starts to climb, you're going to have your 2 points equivalent in the S&P 500 way before you ever get to the first obstacle. Now think about that. You're saying that if price drops back down into the zone and starts to rally, that I could get long and I won't have an obstacle in my path until we get way up here? That's exactly what I'm saying. I take that back. You got an obstacle right here. Today's close. Now this starts to look a little congested and a little crowded. The market's got a lot of work to do, but you know what? If there's bullish momentum in the market, maybe we have some good employment, unemployment numbers, whatever they are, okay? The market could power through this like it's not even there, but it probably won't. It will pause. The momentum will slow. On smaller time frames, the candle bodies will get smaller. If you're tracking this in a 1 or 3 or 5 minutes, you start to see some small candles, okay, as it builds up a little energy for the next run, you know, from foxhole to foxhole to foxhole to foxhole, home, okay? But again, if you get in down here, if you're able to find your entry here as we bounce off of the zone, let's say you're able to get in at, I don't know, just to use a number, the zone's at 75. Let's say you're able to get in at 85, okay? If you're able to get in on a trade on the long side at 85, what's that going to look like? There's 85. Okay, so market comes down, finds support, you drill down to the slingshot, you get a long trade set up, you're able to get long at 85, okay? Well, at 14,905, 14,905, that's going to be right there. From here to here, look at that, there's no friction. There's no resistance. Now, could sellers swoop in at any time for any reason and start driving this thing down? Could there be some unexpected news event? Yes, yes, and yes. Keep in mind, Globex is going to start trading tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. Chicago time. So a lot's going to happen on Globex, okay? So, I mean, let's say that the markets weren't going to open again until Friday morning, then everything I've put here is absolutely true. But Globex is going to open tomorrow night. We are going to tweet it. We are going to trade it. The market may create new obstacles, different obstacles. And that's okay, because whatever the market does, we're going to read the chart from left to right, just like a newspaper. We're going to know where our obstacles are. And if I put out a tweet tomorrow night, you know what it's going to say? It's going to say, consider being long above this number or being short below this number. Why? Why does it say that? Because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't make it my business to try to predict what the market is going to do next. And as Mark says so very well in his book, you don't have to know what's going to happen next in the market to make money. Now that's a mind bender. Well, of course I've got to know what's going to happen next if I'm going to make money. No, and that's where people get hung up. What about if you just accepted, hey, I don't know. All I know is what I'm going to do, just like last night. Let's go back to last night's chart for a minute. I knew that if price broke 98 on the downside, I wanted to be short down to 94. Now, when we put that trade on yesterday afternoon, this candle was in play. This was all the information we had to work with was right here. None of this had happened. No, I take that back. This candle was in play right here. This candle was just starting to build. Okay. This is where we said if we get above 1607, took us up to 09, and then we said if it breaks 98 on the downside, I even sent out a tweet reminding everybody that short side is still valid. 98 to 94. I mean, this is picture perfect. Does it always play out so perfectly? No. There's usually some rough edges. Every now and then the market hands you one like this. Okay. Price does the about face at 94. Gets back to 1607. This morning in the live trading room, I said, remember, guys, I tweeted last night after we took the short trade that the long side is still valid if we go back above 1607. And this morning in the live trading room, when we got back above 1607, I was away from the screens, but Michael pointed out, he says, hey, Dwayne, are you there? I go, yeah. He goes, we just got back above 1607. I go, okay. Well, remember, guys, that zone's overhead. Consider taking profits on the approach. And if you held out for that final point, you're back almost to break even. Okay. Well, no, actually we're at 1610. You've still got 3 points in the trade. Well, you had because the markets are closed now. I'm just not used to the markets being closed so early. So Gary, did that help you? That's my zones. Those were the zones this week for the Dow. Did that help you any at all? Jeanette asked, did you state the other day that partners have a place to create a blog? Jeanette, I did, and thank you for asking. Let me show you where that is, okay? The guys got pretty active there for a while, and then, life happens. If you scroll down, right here, see the opinion page? Click that. The opinion page will load. And who did we have writing for us last year? Garrett has been sending me posts, and I've failed to put them up. My apologies, Garrett. Powderhorn, man, I love your stuff. I wish you'd start writing again. Frank, words cannot define you, my brother. Start writing again. And this fellow, Eric, I haven't heard from in a while. These were just a few people who said, hey, I would like to write. So, Jeanette, if you'd like to write, you can write about life, markets, religion, politics, anything you want, okay? In fact, it can be all of the above. I'll create you your very own page, just like the one here for Powderhorn. See, when you click on his name, his last post was called Preparation H. Great post. And then he went on a elk hunting expedition where he was out he had to employ survival skills to survive this trip. And he learned a lot about trading from this experience. You really should read this. It's awesome. And that's him in the blinding snow and talking about panic and good stuff. So if you've never been to the opinion page, guys, on the right-hand side of every page at CFRN, just scroll down, and right there under Visit Our Blog, Opinions. So what happens, Jeanette, is you just email it to me in raw format. I'll format it up for you. If you got some images you want added or some video snips, give me the links. I'll take care of everything for you. All you have to do is write the commentary. I'll post it. After a few posts, if you want to learn how to do the posting yourself, I'll create you a password that gives you editorial access to your blog, and you can go in and format it and make it look pretty yourself. Okay? So if you want to do that, anybody, this is open to anyone. Now, I'm going to vet what you write, okay? We won't get into anything ugly or nasty or, you know, we are the Christian Financial Radio Network, and we have a family audience, and so we have to always keep that in mind. Even though David sometimes says things like, way the hell up there, I guess we're all adults, right? All right. So let me look and see if there's any other questions in the chat box. I've been threatening to go for a while now, and I'm kind of ready to make good on it. Let's see. Gary says it helped a lot. Thank you very. You're welcome, Gary. I'm glad I could be of service. No, Gary, I don't teach how to do the zones. Here's how I look at the zones. We outline very carefully what we do teach the partners, okay? And teaching how the zones are computed is not a part of the package. Here's how I look at the zones. Every Monday morning, I wake up and I am able to give to the CFRN partners a little gift to thank them for their loyalty and their patronage and for being a part of the CFRN community. I give you at no charge, because it's not included in the package. This is just a no charge kind of thing. I give you the zones, okay? It does say on the page that I'm going to give you the zones every Monday, and I do, but that's how I see it. It's my way, each helping you get your week off to a good start. It's my way of saying, hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you being a part of our community. Here, take these zones, and hopefully they'll help you out this week. There may come a time, there may come a day when I decide to teach that methodology, okay? That might be my golden parachute, because I don't have any, you know, because I am independently employed as a radio talk show host for my own company, for my own broadcasting company, CEO of CT Global Media, managing partner of RE Holdings. The only retirement I have is that which God creates for me, or I create for myself. And so that may be my golden parachute. I might at some point decide to do a seminar of 1,000 people and charge some reasonable sum of money to teach that to 1,000 people in one fell swoop, and then I'm done. I don't know. You may not, I say this all the time, you may not always like what I tell you, but I'll always tell you the truth. And so that's the truth. That's the truth. I haven't decided. But in the meantime, you have my word, as long as you're a partner, I will give you the zones every Monday morning before the market opens, God willing, health permitting, and all of that stuff. Okay? And there is a further commitment to that. If I ever, for any reason, it's like Miss America, if she can't fulfill her duties, okay, I've made a promise to Michael that if in fact I'm ever unable to fulfill my duties, that baton will be passed either to my wife or to him, and it will go on. You trust me, you won't even miss me. All right? All right. Well, I don't know, maybe you'll miss me a little bit. Do you know if there's a video for partners showing how to determine the weekly trading zones? No, Dan, there's not. There is a couple videos that show you how to apply the zones once I publish them for you. You can use the automated little deal that Michael created. You feed the numbers in, and it just spits the lines out for you. I like to put the lines in myself the way you saw me do. I guess because I'm just old-fashioned. I don't know. And then each week I just move them into the new area. So, okay, 1624, 1625. There we go. Okay. All right, let me see if there's any other questions. I want to cover all your questions, and then I'm going to go. Well, thank you, Jeanette. Jeanette said if that happens, we'll miss you. Thank you. You're always so kind. How come the CL and GC is still moving? Isn't the market closed? You know, Jerry, that's a great question. I believe Bert had mentioned that the energies would continue to trade. For how long? Because he says they're purely electronic, and they'll continue to trade up until their normal cutoff time, I guess. Oh, and Jerry, I've already covered that question. And to anybody else, the password for the open house on Friday is independence. If you did not get the invitation with the link for the open house, email me support@cfrn.net. Dwayne, I didn't get the invitation for the open house. I'll send you one, and I'll remember to type in the password for you, okay? And again, my apologies to anyone this morning who struggled to get into the open house. And even though the password was right there in front of you, I know how hard it is to see it. So that's why I usually blow it up, make it a different color. And I forgot to do that last night. So I'm sorry. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Let me just type in one more thing. I hope you guys have a great holiday tomorrow. It's important for two reasons. We get to spend time with our family. Okay, we don't have to work, most of us. And we get to spend time with the family. We also get to reflect on the freedoms that we have here in this country. All you have to do is turn on your TV right now and look at what's going on in Egypt, in the streets of Cairo, armed militia. There's a government overthrow taking place. Friend, that could so easily come to the streets of our country. Thank God it hasn't. I pray it never will. But we need to be thankful for the freedoms we have, and those freedoms were not bought cheaply. Every freedom that we enjoy was paid for by the blood that was shed of brave men. And we talked at the beginning of this show today about courage. Men and women who had the courage to step in front of enemy fire. They bought our freedom with their blood. Let not tomorrow pass without us each spending some quiet time to reflect on that great price they paid and to be thankful, to be grateful. For America's not perfect, but you know what? I've been around the world. I've lived a lot of places. It's the closest thing to perfect I've ever seen. And I'm proud to call it home. That's everything, Ron. I don't know if you're in here. Let me just type this in. That's everything. Indicators and all. Okay, any final questions, guys? Oh, let's see. Got another message coming in here. Let me grab that real quick. Okay. Give me one more minute, guys. See, when somebody comes into the chat room on the website and not the one here in the GoToWebinar, I never know if they're actually listening to the show or not. That's why I pause to try to answer them. Gary says the military just took over Egypt. Okay, so I guess it's official. Let me see if I can pull up some live video feed real quick. Let me get a fresh browser. Pull up a fresh browser and we'll see what kind of video we can get. We'll go to the Twitter feed and we should be able to pull something up out of there. Okay. Thank you, Ron. Okay. All right. Let's pull this over. All right. So Twitter.com. Give it a second to load. Now, my computer is slow because I have so many things going. I'm recording, I'm broadcasting, I'm charting. I got platforms and charts and a lot of stuff going on. So when you do this on your own computer, going to twitter.com should not take, it should take a couple seconds to load up. Do come on. There we go. Okay, we're going to go up to the search box. In case you're not real familiar with Twitter, okay, once you get there, go to the search box. Of course, the page has to load in its entirety before you can do anything. There's a way I could have hacked this URL to take us straight to where we want to go, but I don't want to confuse you. All right, let's try this. Pound. Cairo. Okay, there we go. We're going to get the latest tweets out of Cairo. Watch live. People sing and dance near the presidential palace. Fireworks. Okay, that's a picture. I want some video. That's picture. Armor all over. Another picture. Should be some streaming video somewhere. $20 new tweets. See, it's pouring in. Watch live right here. Okay. Should be able to get video here. Live video usually takes, okay, there we go. Live video. Sorry I can't give you the volume as well, but it's just two separate computers. I don't know. Hang on. Maybe I can. Let's go. Let's hang on a second. Okay. Now I'm on the RT.com site. Okay. Let's see if we can pull up the video feed as well. I mean the audio feed. Here we go. All right, from that vantage point, not a lot to hear, but you can just go to twitter.com. Now you'll get, but long before this ever makes it on CNN or any other news channel, you're getting people that are sending you pictures and video right out of the streets. I mean, they're right there where it's happening. And sometimes you can see things that are a little unnerving. So if you have children, young children, you might not want them watching live video feed from the streets of Cairo because it could get very ugly. It appears that the people are celebrating that the coup has been successful, and hopefully there will be a minimum of bloodshed and fatalities. Could you, when things are off the computer, run a speed test for download and upload and ping? Could you, when things... I can run one right now. Go to speedtest.net. Speedtest.net. Anybody can use this, guys. It's publicly available. Speedtest.net. Doesn't matter who your internet provider is. Now, this will measure my internet speed. It won't have anything to do with all of the things that I have running on my computer that might slow down my processing speed. This is just simply going to test the speed of my internet connection. But since you asked, Gary, I'll be happy to do it. Gary, those zones on the Dow, they look pretty good. S&P and the Dow, those zones are always quite good. And the other guys say that they use the other ones really well too. But I don't trade those other markets, so maybe that's why I'm not quite as in tune with how well they work for them. Okay. Begin test. It's selecting the best server based on my ping. Here we go. I'm doing the ping. Okay, first it measures your download speed. There's two speeds. There's download and upload. I'm pegging download at 100 megabits a second. In case you don't know, that's pretty fast. My upload speed is pretty awesome too. It could be better, but now, how in the world did it tell me I had a 5 meg download speed? Let's test that again. Oh, it was so high it might not have registered it. Did it ping or not? Here, let me just refresh the whole thing. Now, Gary, what kind of speed did you get in comparison to that? All right, let me do a hard refresh here. Test timed out. Try again. Okay. See, that's because my processor is being eaten up with all the different things I've gotten running. Looks like the internet connection itself is okay. Patience, patience. There we go. Begin test. All right, there's the ping. Here comes the test of the download. Now that thing hit 30 that time. It says my download was only 6.87. And my upload was 17. Those are both very acceptable. In fact, they consider broadcast quality anything below 2 megs. So how does that compare to what you have? Gary, yours is about the same? Gary says my upload. Well, your download typically will always be faster than your upload. I'm really surprised to see that my upload is almost 3 times my download. It's usually the other way around. So I'm not sure why that is. But anyway, another speed test is Speakeasy. Now let's compare the two. Did I close that browser? I did. All right, well, that's okay. We'll just do this. Speakeasy. .net/speed test. Let's see what this one gives us. Okay, let me get the furthest one away. Let's go. Let's ping off Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, this one says I got 17 megs download. And 7 up. See, this is typically what you see. Your download will be significantly higher than your upload. It's like a gravity thing. Things just fall easier than they get pushed up. So I don't think there's any gravity involved, but I'm just saying. All right, guys, I'm really going to go. I hope you have a great holiday weekend. John says, I wished Americans would take a lesson from Egypt. I agree, John. There's so much we can learn and understand and be thankful for, and we can pray for those people. You know, not one of those people asked to be born in Egypt or to be born an Egyptian. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being an Egyptian, not at all. I'm just saying they are a victim of their circumstance. And I'm not big on the whole victim mentality, and I don't want them to feel that way. I'm just saying, just like the people that I love and work with and minister with in Africa, okay? Why did God allow me to be born in America? Now, I was born to poor parents in the Deep South, but yet it's kind of the lap of luxury compared to some of my closest loved ones in Africa. Why were they, you know, if you look at moral character and you know, spirituality and, you know, being faithful men and women, I got to tell you, some of those people I know over there, they deserve it a whole lot more than I do. Maybe God knew I didn't have the intestinal fortitude to withstand what they withstand with great faith. There's a lot I don't know the answer to. I got a lot of questions, boy, but I tell you what, when God calls me home, I have so many questions for him. But then again, maybe once we have that vantage point, maybe those questions will just fade away. Because once we're looking into the face of eternity, maybe it won't even matter. I don't know. Okay. Gary, you're welcome. All of you guys, thanks for all your kind comments. I hope I didn't miss any questions. If I did miss a question, type it into the box, and as I sign off, I will type in an answer, okay? Again, if things work according to plan, I'll be tweeting the Globex Open. Past performance, no guarantee of future results, but man, the markets have been so kind to us on these tweets, so as long as the market's making it available, let's take advantage of it. All right, it is the holiday. Spend some quality time with the family. I'll see you all around the barbecue grill tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Hey, trader, what if I told you there was an indicator set that worked well in all markets, from gold to soybeans to E-minis? What if I told you it worked well across all time frames? Would you believe me? You don't have to. Test drive our platform and indicators with live data for a full week and see how CFRN can change your trading forever. No strings attached, no credit card required. Get started today at www.cfrn.net.
I'm Melinda Pencava with the World Vision Report. As events in